Welcome back to the channel. It's animation time, and this go around, we're kind of stepping out of the box, at least for myself and Tyler anyway. But our esteemed guest, Mr. James Etalk, has been indulging himself in this cartoon.
Very much so.
doing your research because you got a video coming at a later date for Serial Geek TV that you're doing on Galaxy High School.
This is correct. Yeah, I'm literally working on it today. It's a 4-part video covering Galaxy High School that basically showcases never before seen stuff, because the last time I ever saw the late great Larry Dutilio, I was at his house and he just handed me, we were talking about all these different shows, and I was kind of singing the praises of Galaxy High School. He's like, oh, hang on a second. And he goes into his office and he just came back with a box full of Galaxy High School stuff and he plonked it down. I was like, oh my God, and I'm going through it. And he was like, he goes, take it, scan it, whatever you want to do with it, just kind of get it out.
Oh my God.
And I was like, oh my goodness. And it was like, and it was one of those things where as soon as I started the YouTube channel, Serial Geek TV YouTube channel, I thought, I've got to do that video at some point. I've got to kind of, because I always wanted the right platform, because I've had this stuff since, like, my goodness, when was that? 2017, I guess, something like that, maybe, yeah, 2017, I guess. And it's like, I could have just shoved it on the net. And it's just like, no, I want to kind of celebrate it correctly, as I do with everything that I put on my channel. So I was just like, yeah, I've did a complete deep dive on it, sat there reading the series Bible, the original script, all the unproduced episodes, all the memos between, Tokyo Movie Shinsha and CBS, and yeah, crazy stuff. And it's like, right, I think the video, it's going to be like 4 parts. It's going to be probably about 2 hours or something. It's going to be like spread out. But yeah, there's a lot there, basically. Yeah.
I so want to do a big Larry Dutilio appreciation episode of just like talking about, especially, I mean, obviously his He-Man stuff, but just I envy you to death that you got to meet him and spend so much time with him and talk to him as much as you did, because he just seemed like one of the coolest guys to ever work in entertainment. And
he was an awesome guy. It was just because I think that was the thing on that last time I saw him. Like, I knew he and his pals still met up and played board games, like he and other writers, which kind of, it's like, oh, you guys, like, you all worked on 80s cartoons together, you still hang out and you still, play board games and stuff like that. But when I went to his house and saw his office, which was like full of paperwork and stuff, but you see all his board games and it's like, of course, you're a geek like us. You know, and you think about how Larry got his start was, making,
working on that.
Was it Dungeon? Not Dungeon Dragon. It was something like, the name's on the tip of my tongue. I just
know this where Dark Smoke was originated.
I think
and Granamere, I think, was it was part of that role playing game.
But yeah, he was all about the role playing game, and then he kind of, that obviously enabled him to get into the fantasy realm of, hey, you want to write a thing for Filmation? It's just like, yeah, sure. I think he even said, Larry said that he saw I seem to remember him saying he walked into a comic shop and there was just like a script for a He-Man episode there, and he was like, and it was this before the series had even aired. So it was something that was there, and he was just like, oh, like, I can't remember, it was something, I need to go back through all my emails with him. It was how he ended up writing or rewriting the Time Corridor. But yeah, he was going back to the man himself. He was a proper awesome guy, and he was like, some people describe themselves as humble constantly. He was actually a humble guy. He was someone that could actually say, you didn't. That's the whole point. When you're humble, you don't tell people you're humble. That's the point. He was just an incredibly humble guy, and just an absolute sweetheart. And I saw that firsthand at the San Diego Comic-Con as well. The 2006, the second time I went, and we were at the BCI booth, and he was signing stuff, and everybody he spoke to. I know it's like a bit of a cliche, like, oh, he had time for everyone. It's like, no, he did. He literally sat there and was just chatting to
the ones that do that, you can't miss it. Like, it sticks out so much. The ones that really are taking time to acknowledge every man and woman approaching them and makes them feel like they're the only person in the room. I love that.
Yeah, I was having a conversation. It was actually with Dushan today or yesterday, and I was saying that it's there are certain people that worked on He-Man and 1980s cartoons that are kind of somewhat ashamed of their work, or not ashamed.
Like Paul Dini.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was talking about. And I said one of the worst things is, and this is like a mini 30-second rant, is that if someone comes up to you and says, "Oh, I love your work on Teela's Quest," say to them, "Thank you, that's awesome. Yeah, what did you like about the episode?" Don't go, "Okay," and give them a side eye, because that makes. I saw Dini do that to so many people in 2005, in 2005. It's just like, dude. And I remember seeing an interview with him online, and someone had said, "I really liked the Teela's Quest episode," and he just wrote in the response like, "Okay, man," or "Okay, dude." It was just like, it's so patronising. It's like, do you understand when someone comes up and heaps praising your work, even if you think that work is shite? Don't make them feel bad for liking your work, because in the end they'll dislike you.
I got the vibe in those BCI interviews where he's interviewed on season 1, like the first disc. He looked like he would much rather be anywhere else.
Oh, he did.
I'm like, I saw heartbreaking to see that.
Yeah, and like I remember in subsequent years, I remember him. It was either him or Bruce Timm was kind of like, "Oh yeah, Batman." It's like, "Oh yeah." At that point, you think, is it just an act now that people think so highly of these things that you're too cool to be like, "Oh yeah, I did that Batman cartoon." It's like, "Oh yeah, the one that changed the course of the animation industry."
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that little, it was a bit shit. Whatever. Just like, but all I can say is like Larry Dutilio was never that guy. Larry Dutilio was like, "Oh, you like that episode?" Like, here's some information you may never with everyone. He was just like awesome. God. He still remembers stuff about Bionic 6, for goodness sake. But yeah,
God, it breaks the heart.
But him, like, when eventually, I do this video, come out later this year, the amount of work he did on it is astonishing, because everybody associates, Chris Columbus presents Galaxy High School, rightly so. He wrote the series Bible and the first episode, but Larry Dutilio, I've seen in interviews within a year of the show airing, said that soon after, because this is a funny thing, Chris Columbus not walked away. He'd done Gremlins and Goonies already. Mm-hmm. Then was like, I won't mind doing a TV animation. So then he did Galaxy High. Then he went back to movies again, which is like his prerogative. But the funny thing is, Larry said, like, literally, even before the first script had kind of been finalized, or the first freelance script, Larry was brought in as a story editor because Chris had left. So their paths barely kind of interacted. So it shows you how much Larry Dutilio did on Galaxy High School. It's like, I think the series, I'm not going to say success, because obviously the success was, it barely registered really. But what I think is the strength of the series is all Larry Dutilio. The humor is very Larry Dutilio-y, throughout. That first episode is amazing, I think, but when you get the series and the kind of characters evolving, it's like, oh yeah, this is all the Larry Dutilio's work. I was going to say the Big D, and I was like, that sounds a bit disrespectful to a man who's no longer with us. The Big Dutilio.
It actually, it's funny that James just mentioned all that, because that was one of the questions I was going to have. Is, as you said, most people associate this with Chris Columbus, who many of which you brought up, Goonies and Gremlins that he wrote for, but then went on to direct stuff. A lot of Mrs. Doubtfire too, correct?
Yeah.
And then a lot of people associate him with the first 2 Harry Potter films.
Harold Potter.
Yeah. So that was going to be my.
I just.
How about that? What a tie!
That's literally that is complete accident. I picked this out of the cupboard. That's amazing.
And that was going to be my question to you, but you already answered it, of just Larry Dutilio and Chris Columbus. But it's funny you bring that up. As soon as Larry gets there, Chris is like halfway out the door.
I mean, they said though. I mean, and this obviously the truth of this is kind of. There's no doubt in this that the series was sold to CBS on the basis that we got a Hollywood guy working on this. So it was Galaxy High School was sold to CBS on the strength of Chris Columbus's name being attached to it. And I mean, it's one of those things. I highly doubt Chris Columbus walked away and was like, because I've read interviews with Chris Columbus at the time in like the magazines published, and he was so up for this series. It's astonishing. It's like, because he had such a love of animation, which is why he put Snow White in Gremlins. Yeah, where he had that scene, where they were like, and they're all like singing "Hey ho, hey ho." That was apparently Chris Columbus had written that in to say like, we'll see him in Snow White, watching Snow White, and that's like the big gag. And yeah, I think he was in his interviews. He really thought that this was going to be like the next coming of Warner Brothers, which sounds really bizarre, but you can kind of see what he means in the sense of, he threw out a bunch of quotes, the typical disillusioned, so many of these cartoons now are all toy based, and I understand where he's coming from. And it's like, yeah, it's true. If you're an old school lover of animation, if you grew up with Chuck Jones and Bob Clampett cartoons and that, Bugs Bunny, Daffy Duck, all that stuff, Johnny Quest, even those shows.
Yeah, Tex Avery.
Tex Avery. And then you get into the 1980s and suddenly all these shows are like, toy adverts, as we like to say. I could understand if you're of someone like maybe 20 or 30 years old and you're like, what the hell is this? No, I want to make cartoons like I remember. So that was kind of like the premise of Galaxy High. And then they obviously hired John Kricfalusi. He's somewhat infamous these days, but they hired John Kricfalusi to be like, prior to Ren and Stimpy, to be like, right, go crazy with your designs. And he did this amazing one sheet that I should have sent you, but maybe I'll try and get it to you at the end, of all these character designs. And they're so like, a lot of them, you can see how they evolved in the series or made it into the series. But yeah, they're just so wacky. And he was just like the perfect guy to have on it.
It's funny that you mentioned that, because in watching the first episode, I actually watched the first 3 episodes of this.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And seeing the different, the creatures, the different aliens from different planets and everything. And I kind of went through a little bit of the Wikipedia article here and noticed the ties to Ren and Stimpy, but then it also kind of expands upon that, not so much in the people behind it, I guess, but you see elements of like Our Real Monsters and Rocco.
Yeah, oh yeah.
That would come later on. You see sprinkles of that here that would evolve in the next 10 years.
Well, this was definitely one of those kind of pre-Nickelodeon cartoons. Like, yeah. I always describe Galaxy High School as a show before its time. I think
I can see that.
Yeah.
There's two, like in my video. I'm going to keep saying that in my video coming up. One of the points I make is that I think that had this show come out 92, 93, but been broadcast on MTV, I think it would have been a massive hit, because it has all those elements. It's like, it's visually striking, it's funny, it has like a real kind of wacky cast of characters, but it's kind of, I wait to hear you guys, talking about it, but it's that it really kind of, I think, would have grabbed the attention of the audience. I know in the early 90s, the kind of cartoons on MTV, like the Max and, what was it? I'm trying to think, The Head was one of them. And,
Eon Flux, Beavis and Butthead.
Yeah, Beavis and Butthead. Obviously, those were kind of alternative cartoons, but I still think that there was a place for Galaxy Eye on that network, like MTV in its prime as well.
Yeah, when it was good.
I thought it would have been like really good, like kind of thing. But yeah, just one of those things.
Well, going back to the air dates here. So this originally aired 86, 87 on CBS, and then they would rerun the episodes in 87 and 88. And then according to Wikipedia here, this aired on the Sci-Fi Channel in the mid 90s. But
yeah, it was edited, wasn't it?
Yeah, trying to, much like we've done before, trying to rack my brain to see if I remember anything about this as a kid watching those first 3 episodes. Nothing really came to mind. Tyler, do you have any recollection of this show at all?
Nothing. Up until I don't remember how I even heard of it. I just know I would see pieces of animation in the opening of James' Serial Geek videos, and I'm thinking, okay, that must be what Galaxy High is. But I knew nothing of it, had never heard of it. I think probably, unless James had mentioned it, I had no memory, never saw anything during that time. Because there were a few shows that were not action-oriented I would watch as a kid, like Gummy Bears, Muppet Babies, and things like that. But I think I would have liked it a lot had I known about it, and would have enjoyed the and what would have really won me over back then if I seen it as a kid was the familiar voice actors that are in it. And I'm like, that was like, oh my god, it's Eric from Bionic 6. Oh my god, it's Wade Duck, from Garfield and Friends. And I'm just like, that's Krang. I'm just like picking up on all these voices. Like,
I will say one thing, Nathan. The show actually aired in September of '86, so it actually debuted in '86. So, and the biggest there's like a really funny interview with Chris Columbus, because the show that Galaxy High School went up against. So Galaxy High School is about to air, and it goes up against a show on the ABC network, which is The Real Ghostbusters.
Holy shit.
So it's Galaxy High School versus The Real Ghostbusters. And Chris Columbus says, like, they knew that was going to happen. Chris Columbus says, I feel like I'm always going up against Ghostbusters, because a year earlier, Ghostbusters versus Gremlins. So it's like, poor Chris Columbus.
He can't get away from it.
It's just like, but imagine that though. You're like, oh, who are we up against on ABC? And they're like, yeah, Ghostbusters. Like, oh,
son of a bitch.
What, that Filmation show? It's like, no. Oh dear. But I was just like, yeah, I mean, like, it never stood a chance really. And apparently, like, from what I've read over the years, it was in such a shitty kind of spot as well in the CBS kind of lineup, and it was always preempted by sports events and stuff.
Yeah.
And over here in the UK, we got it good, as it were. We just had it shown. I think it was in around about 1988. We got it, and it aired like on a Saturday morning, like once a week, and then it reran, I think, the following year, and then it reran a few more times, or once more, I think, in like 1990, and that's why I remember recording most of the episodes. But I saw it the first time round, and my friend and I were just like, this show's, it was like cool. It was like you didn't have any toys or any associated things. It was just like, oh, this is a really fun show. It was like appealing, even though I couldn't act out the adventures with the characters. I think, and like going back to what Tyler said, that voice cast, is astonishing. I just said it's almost like, I think it has one of the best female lineups of any kind of 1980s cartoons, and that's no disrespect to obviously all the shows we love, like in He-Man, She-Ra, Transformers, whatever, all those shows. But when you look at the female cast, you've got obviously Susan Blue, who's just awesome, and I just love her natural voice, and her Amy Brightow voice with that natural crack in it. It's just like when she peaks, she kind of, her voice breaks, and I've always loved that about Susan Blue's voice. Then you've got like Jennifer Darling, who plays kind of like the more, she plays Bowie Bubblehead and Wendy Garbo. And just like such a great voice actress. She was obviously Irma in Ninja Turtles. That's kind of voice. It's like a really nasally voice. Then you've got who else you got? Nancy Cartwright, of course. But which I remember like seeing The Simpsons for the first time, and I was like, if you'd seen the first episode, you would have seen the Flat Freddy character, the very thin, who's basically just the Bart Simpson voice. He's just got the exact same voice.
Come on, the Tracy Ullman show.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's Flat Freddy, and then who else you got? You got Pat Carroll, who's kind of a classic Hollywood actress, and she's the voice of Miss Biddy McBrain, and
is that the voice of Ursula from Little Mermaid?
Yes, it is. Yeah, I think you're right. Yes, I think you are right there. Yeah. Yeah, it's one of those things where I'm like racking my brain half the time, but yeah, it's trying to think who else.
You know what I should do? I should just get clips from a bunch of cartoons, and I will just play the clip, and it'll be a game show. The two of you, one of you buzz it.
That tune. Name that tune. TOON instead of
yes, there you go.
There we go.
And then it's one of those things where I'll just play the audio from it. You got to buzz in, and you got to name. We could do it to where it's you either got to name the character in the show or the voice actor and the character, or the voice actor in the show.
That's
any
a really
of those
good
combinations.
I'd say
I think we're onto something there.
James would probably beat the shit out of me on that game.
I don't know. You never know. Like your knowledge is pretty impeccable, to be honest. I think that thing. One of the things I'd
love to do it though. I'm just like saying, like I think it would be.
I would love to host it. Don't count me as a participant in that at all.
I always said that one of my geekiest things I would love to try out one day is if someone played like 10 transformation sequences from He-Man, just the audio of the transformation from By the Power of Grayskull to Cringer Battle Cat, and I have to tell you what episodes they're from, because I was like, I'd love that challenge, because I think I could probably do it.
Wait.
Just by the audio, just by the listening to the audio of like.
Of just the transformation sequence, though?
Yeah, where the music starts, like and then By the Power of Grayskull, I have the power.
Okay.
Cringer to Battle Cat, and I'm confident, at least from the first season, maybe early second season, I could probably go, that's from The Cat and the Spider, that's from, It's Not My Fault.
You guys are nuts. I just want to toss that out there. Just the knowledge that you had, because I can't remember names of stuff worth anything unless it's wrestling. If you're gonna pinpoint me to a certain thing wrestling wise, I got you. But anything else,
knows Bash and Booger better than anybody else. But
actually, probably Bash and Booger not so much, but maybe some Friar Ferguson.
Friar Ferguson in WC. Yeah.
God. Well, you guys want to start deep diving on this first episode here?
I was going to just clarify to the viewers, we all have left the house at times. Don't worry, just because we have this knowledge, we do leave the house.
Yeah, we do have lives. We have
happy lives. I'm rocking the glasses.
We interact with people. We do stuff. Yes.
Yeah. I was going to say, I've got this really geeky
like
look
leaving
going
the house and talking to other people. It feels good. It feels normal.
Yeah, it's like, what is this weird world with human beings?
Yeah, but I come home like, man, that was kind of fulfilling.
Yeah. I feel like
we have relationships.
It depends on where you go, though. Like, if you're just going to a store or something, then people absolutely not. But if you're going out and you're hanging out with friends that you know, and you're having some pizza and having some pints, as James would say, then yes, that's what it's all about. But
I mean, yeah. So we know where we're going.
Link is down below. We're just going to kind of go through this, how we've been doing lately. We're just going to go in increments and you'll see what you see. But if you are intrigued by this conversation, because I saw someone in the chat saying, what show are they talking about? Because much like Tyler and myself, this is a show we didn't check out when we were younger. So these are our first impressions of it. But link is down below for the YouTube link. You can go check out and watch this first episode for yourself. So let's start here as we go through the TMS Entertainment. James, what can you tell me about that? Anything? Or?
No, Tokyo Movie Shinsha. They were like the pinnacle of 1980s Japanese animation. Tyler would know all about them. If you know a decent episode of a certain cartoon, you can TMS is a Japanese studio that worked on stuff like The Real Ghostbusters, Bionic, well, not Bionic 6 because they were part of that, but numerous shows. Most famously, TMS worked on Filmation's Zorro show, so it's the only time Tokyo Movie
I've yet to watch that, and
it's so good.
Yeah, and I need to sit down and watch that because I like Zorro.
God, it's really good. It's such a good show. But TMS in I think it was about 84, 85. They're a Japanese company, and they decide, look, we keep producing all this animation for the West. Why don't we try and branch out into the West with our own company? So TMS Entertainment is their kind of American base of operations. I think it's more worldwide now, but so they create this because they want to create cartoons directly for the Western market. So they do, I think they start off with Mighty Orbots, they do Galaxy High School, and they do Bionic 6. Those are the main three. There's a few others scattered around, but those three shows are just I mean, Mighty Orbots is visually stunning, and it's 13 episodes, but it's incredible. Then you have Galaxy High School, which is visually stunning, but it's 13 episodes. Then you have Bionic 6, which is
a masterpiece.
It's incredible. Bionic 6, I could spend hours just showcasing certain bits of animation in that series because it's fantastic, and it's 65 episodes. Why haven't you
said you were going to come forth and do that with us?
Yeah. I want really good quality episodes. And do you know the thing I didn't know at the time was those sci-fi episodes were edited until I think it was Tyler mentioned it, and I was like, what? They're edited?
Yeah.
Oh man, that was really depressing. Now I don't know if the ones that aired in the UK in '95 were edited, but anyway, that's Bionic 6. This is Galaxy High School. But yeah, this was it's a shame. You look at Mighty Orbots, Galaxy High School, and Bionic 6. All three kind of failed in a way. They didn't catch on. Bionic 6 had a failed toy line, so did Mighty Orbots. Great shows. Yeah, absolutely. Great shows, but they came out at a time when, let's be honest, the industry was flooded with toy-based cartoons.
That's what I love about it. I know not everyone could be a star, much like in the toy world, same thing with TV, but I'm thankful that decade had the most abundant amount of animation that, whether it went under the radar or it caught everyone's attention in syndication, it's wonderful to think there was that many creative minds putting all this stuff together for 10 years.
Yeah. And the funny thing is, it's in the UK, we only ever got what was considered a hit. So the fact we got Galaxy High School and Bionic 6 at all is kind of like a bit astonishing. We never got Mighty Orbots, to my knowledge. I never saw that at all. But we didn't get Voltron either, which is really odd when you think about it.
Yeah, that is really odd.
Yeah.
Was there? Do you think the mindset in behind that too is because going back to Master Universe, that there was so much stuff released in the UK after the popularity in the States had ended. Do you see some of that in regards to this and Bionic 6 being showcased in the UK as something like, well, it didn't really set the popularity scale compared to X, Y, and Z over here in the States. Maybe if we try here in the UK, it'll take off better here. Do you think there was any kind of mentality that way?
I don't think so. I think often when shows were shown in the UK, it was almost like we need to fill a time slot. We need a decent new cartoon, but they were willing. Like when I remember seeing an interview with the woman. This was only about 5-10 years ago, with the woman that brought He-Man to the UK, and she was like, we saw it and we just thought it was like a great cartoon. She was like, we just wanted to broadcast that. And she goes, yeah, it took a while, but we wanted this cartoon. We knew it was going to be a hit, but we were like, we got to get this. And the funny thing is what you were saying there, Nathan, with Galaxy High School, I think in America you had that one VHS release. I forget who was it. It wasn't Magic Window, was it? No, it was.
I think it was FHE that put it out.
Yes, it was FHE. Yeah, with their little crayon logo. Yeah, same as the Ninja Turtles. Same artist, I think, who did the box art cover for the Galaxy High School one and the Ninja Turtles. But over here in the UK, we had 2 UK VHS releases, and the it's quite funny actually, quite randomly. We had like a very popular magazine over here in the UK called Lookin'. It was kind of for kids and teenagers, and it was like, here's what pop stars are up to. Here's your comic strips. It was like it covered broad. I didn't know many people that bought it, but it was a huge seller. But they had for about half a year a Galaxy High School strip, and randomly on eBay I saw, I think it was about like 20 pages of artwork from that for sale recently, and I was like, oh man, it's like $800 or something. And I'm just like,
nope.
No,
I was
thank
surprised
you.
the guy's like, you know what, James? I'm just going to give it to you.
God, yeah.
James, all these holy grails.
That would be nice. But yeah, I don't
James comes in, you want to hit this guy this game to me for free? He's going to throw it out.
Yeah. Oh no, unfortunately that did not happen.
And then I'm like Nathan. I'm like, oh my God, right now, dude.
Well, let's get into the catchy theme song.
It makes me think of the Burbles from Thundercats singing this song.
Oh yeah, because it's Don Felder of the Eagles, which is like one of those random things. Like, wait, one of the guys from the Eagles did this song. It's funny. I remember seeing it as a kid, but I couldn't remember the theme song until I saw it years later. Like I say, I kind of missed. It was broadcast, then a year or two later, it was rebroadcast. But the funny thing is, and I just thought this intro is one of the best at basically saying, here's the story before we get to where we are.
Yeah, I love that about it.
And it sums up their characters so perfectly. And he's, Amy Brightower and Doyle Cleverlow. Doyle was a high school star. Everybody thought he'd go real far. Well, it's almost like I know the lyrics. but originally what they were going to have, and I'm so glad they didn't do this. I understand why they nearly did, but I'm glad they didn't. They were going to have a Galaxy High School rap.
Yeah.
And it's because, 1986.
The time. The rap was like the big thing. And
Run DMC, LL Cool J were kind of, it hadn't reached Hammer popularity yet, because that was like 89, 90. That was where everything was like,
but quasi-mainstream at this point. It's definitely establishing itself as a new standout genre to anybody that was watching MTV around this era.
Yes, absolutely, yeah. And so they didn't go with the rap. They went with this theme song, which is quite funny. In the original draft script, the series was going to start off, like the first 3 or 4 scenes were going to start off on Earth. And it was Amy and Doyle in their like everyday lives at high school, because they go to Elvis Presley High School in Cleveland, Ohio. That's where this is located, apparently. You don't find that out in the series. It's only in the series Bible. And it was going to start off on Earth, and that's where they learned that they're going to be the first ever exchange students to Galaxy High School. And they're like, what? Outer space? No, they kind of can't stand each other. It's like, no, you're going to go to space together, because we wanted to pick the the student with the highest grades and the student with the lowest grades.
And that's when I watched this first episode, I was like, you know what, damn it, this is the first episode should have been about how they're getting here to this point.
Yeah.
That's my only gripe in watching that.
Yeah.
Like, I wish we would have had that episode to really establish them, and then we move on into the next episode.
But that's the thing. Like, I completely agree. Like, when I read that script, I was just like, oh my god, this would have been so cool, because you established quite a lot of their personality early on. But oddly, like I say, I really think that theme song does a really good job of going, here's the characters and here's how they're going to be when they get to Galaxy High School. Because obviously it jumps ahead and says, like, you know, Amy is the sweetheart, Doyle's got a lot to learn. Not exactly a rhyme, but, you know.
And that's what you want in a cartoon like this, is to have that theme song, because we've talked about this a lot, the three of us personally, is that first impressions mean a lot. So if someone's clicking on this for the first time, to hear that theme song, you automatically go into the episode kind of having a general understanding of what you're about to watch.
And it's beautifully animated, that intro. Like, it starts off with, you know, the playing basketball, he's doing his sports, and the bat swing to the screen. It's just like, Tokyo Movie Shinsha, there's a reason that the Japanese are so good at bloody animating. And
they establish her as the nerd, of course.
Yeah, and it's like, and as this episode progresses, obviously we see her transformation. But yeah, it starts off with them walking. I do like, you know, like we've agreed, an intro to them on Earth would have been a nice start. Mm-hmm. But I do like the fact that the episode literally starts off with them walking up to the doors on the first day of, you know, Galaxy High. And again, it's just all this character animation, and the voice actors, Hal Rail as Doyle Cleverlobe and Susan Blue as Amy Brightower. It's almost like, it sounds really cheesy, but it's almost like they were born for these roles, because they both have really youthful voices. You know, Hal Rail had previously been like Snarl in the Transformers, and Susan Blue had been Arcee, and probably was still at the time because of the post-movie episodes, but they both were like such perfect fits. And the funny thing is, I've got the memos for like the casting. It was done so quickly. That's the scary thing. So yeah, it's so on the 28th of April 1986, like, right, we need to audition for these characters, list of characters. So that's 28th of April 1986. They finalized the cast on May the 7th. You think that's a really quick turnaround. It's like, here's our cast, here's who we're going with. It's like, wow. And if I was to tell you the schedule for Galaxy High School, it's phenomenal. Like, it blew my mind when I was, you know, finally sitting down to do these videos. Like, to make the first episode. So this is from the moment Chris Columbus sat down to write the series Bible. It was April, May, June, July, August. It was literally about 4 months, which is astonishing to conceive a series, write the first script, cast, audition, storyboard, animate, and get it to air. And it's just like, bloody hell. Like, the quality of this episode, like visually, everything going on in the background, all the little character movements, all the little asides. It's like 4 months? That's nuts.
I could see this being a case with a lot of animated shows where there's a bit of a crunch to get stuff done.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but to me, it's just, I just think, if you'd asked me, like, me knowing, you know, over the years, having seen how all these shows are produced, it's like, oh yeah, we started writing the Masters of the Universe series Bible in, you know, 1982. We started writing scripts, and granted, 65 episodes is very different to 13, but they were still making He-Man when the series was airing, so they were still, you know, catching up. And same with Galaxy High. But I was just like, for the level of quality you see on screen in this first episode, so much going on. Obviously, stills don't do it justice, but when you see like all the background characters, all the spaceships, all the little, there's even like when they first walk into the school later, or when you see them when they meet Milo, you see people, you know, people whooshing around in the tubes above. And it's like, you're only going to notice that if you look up at the top left of the screen. You see like all these pages. Like, oh, but I think they really established the characters well in this. Like, Doyle's such a jerk. He's like, in the UK, we didn't have, you know, high school, so to speak, as in we didn't have this, like, you know, the Letterman jackets, the jocks, the nerds, you know, there was never really a thing. We just had, you know, school and secondary school, and then we went to college or something. So it was a bit of it was literally an alien world watching this show to a degree, but you could still connect with these characters. It's like, oh yeah, he's a dickhead and she's, a bit boring and dull.
You were talking about the cool factor of this to you and your friend when watching it. Did that play a part in that, of just like, this is unfamiliar territory to us here? So was not only this, but was it enjoyable to watch other things like Saved by the Bell and stuff that took place in American high schools for you because it was so different?
I mean, the thing is, what you have to understand about UK entertainment in the 80s, we had so much American TV. Don't get me wrong, we had a lot of British TV, but the American TV was so, the amount we had was almost like you could drown it in it at times, from animation to TV shows. And it wasn't not always the same as, it was not always digested the same as, the Americans. Like Seinfeld bombed over here. Seinfeld was, it was shown, it ended up being shown at like 11 p.m. at night. It was that badly received.
Holy shit.
Friends
you
was
like
a hit.
Friends? That's
Friends was a hit. But another one, for example, Married with Children did terribly. This is going to sound really weird. My family and I, like me, my mother and my father, ended up watching Married with Children in the late 90s when it was broadcast on this channel called Sky, because they would show it at 6:30 every night.
Isn't that like the big movie channel or something like that on Sky TV, or it's like one of the big networks or something?
Yeah, Sky is like the big. It was owned by Rupert Murdoch, who's like
home of the WWF.
Yeah, it was. Sky Sports was for a while. He's not lying. That's pretty accurate. But yeah, like Sky One was like their kind of little network channel, and they showed Married with Children, but that thing of the consumption of shows we had, like, even though we couldn't relate to the certain elements of this, you could still appreciate that this was like a cool. I mean, I think this show, it kind of exudes an element of cool. It's so unique.
Yeah,
but I don't think you can say that, like, this is no disrespect to other cartoons, but like, Ninja Turtles is cool. That's a cool show. Inspector Gadget, not a cool show. You know what I mean? You can see where I'm going with this. It's like certain shows that are considered, especially in the 80s, hip and rad. Galaxy High School fit that bill. It's just like, oh, these are cool looking characters, and plus, visually, it's so kind of stimulating kind of thing.
I have to piggyback on that. Like, to lump Inspector Gadget, because I have not watched, and that was a show I watched religiously.
I did too,
dude. Late 80s and 90s, because Nickelodeon would play it on the 7 o'clock hour block with Looney Tunes back to back. Adored that cartoon. I think I can't remember if you did a video a while back on. I thought you did. But I was just like, I don't know if I would really enjoy it, and which is odd because I love revisiting every cartoon. But that's just one. I'm like, I had the best memories of it, but I'm like, I don't know if I would enjoy it as much for whatever reason.
Well, the maybe
that's kind of close to what you're talking about.
Well, the video I made was about Inspector Gadget, was how I really didn't like the series, but the pilot episode was amazing because guess who animated it? This company, Tokyo Movie Shinsha. They animated Inspector Gadget, like the best looking episodes of Inspector Gadget, all TMS. But the pilot episode of Inspector Gadget is so awesome because he's competent and he's not like, oh, Penny, what's going on here? It's like he even spots like Dr. Claw's ship. He spots mad agents. It's like, yeah, that's what you want in this kind of lovable, bumbling detective. But Galaxy High School. Anyway, I'm kind of deviating slightly there.
Doyle here. So my favorite thing, especially you said we established from the beginning that he's full of himself. He's a jerk. And I love that he's like, listen, I'm going to be popular here just like I've been popular back home. Don't worry about it. Also, don't talk to me.
Yeah. It's funny. That was in the original script when they're on Earth. They have that conversation. I think, is it on Earth or they're in the cab ride? And he basically says to her, the exact same conversation. So they clearly brought that forward for this scene. But again, I remember when I watched Futurama for the first time, I saw the whoosher tubes. I was like, oh man, this was done in Galaxy High School many, 10, 15 years earlier.
Maybe some inspiration from that.
Yeah. Who knows? I mean, a lot of the people probably worked on Futurama, probably had some foot in 80s animation somewhere. Yeah, we get to meet Milo DeVinus.
Which I love this. I love that he's got your atypical nerdy look, but he's got 6 arms. He's like Goro. He's Goro. essentially.
Goro, what a great reference.
A nerdy Goro. Yeah.
In the in one of the early John Kricfalusi designs, like Milo is there, but the difference is he's got normal arms. He's got two arms. He hasn't got 3 pairs. He's got 2 arms, and he's got like antennae, and he's wearing like kind of like a nerdy kind of cap kind of thing. So it's just like how these characters were being kind of, because in the original Kricfalusi design, which you see in the thumbnail for this video, Doyle has 2-tone hair, so he's got dark brown hair and like a blonde streak at the front. It's like, oh, okay.
I like him how he's like this, and I love the gag too. When he's introducing himself, he says, "I know that humans on Earth like to greet each other by shaking hands," and they're like, "Well, that's good and all, but I don't know which hand I need to shake. How about all of them?"
Yeah, it's like this hand slapping going on.
Yeah, he's great. Yeah. His voice as well. Like I remember, he's got. I mentioned this in the video that I'm doing again. He has David L. Lander, who voiced Milo, has such a similar voice to Barry Gordon, who did Donatello. It's kind of like a really unique register of voice. It's kind of like it sounds like a young voice, but it's like a nerdy voice, which obviously works perfectly for Donatello. But yeah, like all the little animation going, all the characters like the aliens walking by, and like I say, in some shots you see, people going in the whoosher tubes. But yeah, Doyle establishes that he's still a jerk here by offering to go on a date with Amy and then pulling out like a little alien.
Because that alien was like sitting on one of the lockers, like so business, and he just grabs it and
he's like, he goes, "Would you like a date?" And because that's one thing they established in the series Bible is that Doyle and Amy should almost be like, they're attracted to one another, but they would never admit it. And I don't think that's something the series ever really delves into. There's a few episodes later on which kind of do, but only briefly. But I'm glad that it doesn't go down that route. But they were really pushing for that initially, and they kind of say like Amy and Doyle would love to date each other, but they'd never admit it. And I love the lockers. The lockers are great.
That was a cool idea.
And I love. I found myself chuckling quite a bit throughout this first episode, where her locker is all nice and polite, and it's like, oh yeah, you can do all this.
Wash your laundry. It's like all polite,
And then Doyle gets his locker, and he was like, no food, no clothes, only books. I don't like you, kind of.
It's also like the history puts in. It's like, I've been doing this for 30 years. It's really good. And the same voice actor does both lockers, which I thought was a really nice touch. When I looked at the cast for this, the actor that does the voice of the lockers, it says it's Henry Gibson. Now, if you look up Henry Gibson, he's like this actor that you won't know the name of, but when you see him, you're like, oh, he was in Blues Brothers, he's been in all these films, and I'm sure it's the same actor, but it's just like, I can't imagine him doing these two voices, because they're like, but then, that's the talent of an actor being able to...
I've heard that name before, too. I'm trying to place, like, what?
Yeah, he's like, in Blues Brothers, he's in one of my favourite scenes of all time, but in the epic car chase, if you've ever seen Blues Brothers.
I never could get into it. And I feel like I'm the black sheep. I'm like, I don't get it.
No, I get it. It was one of those where my dad was like, you've got to watch Blues Brothers. I was like, okay, father, kind of thing.
Well, see, my dad loved it. My best friend from childhood, he swore. I'm looking like, why is this funny to you?
Maybe that's something you could find some more appreciation in as adult. But Tyler, much like you, it's a movie. I've seen bits of it on TV, and that was I didn't have much of an interest in.
And
I love John Belushi in Animal House. He was great. Of course, Dan Aykroyd and Ghostbusters and various Coneheads. I don't give a shit. I like Coneheads, but I'm like, I just like watching the skits. Like they're just dancing and singing. Like, why is that funny? And I'm just.
I mean, I think that film's a mixture of kind of. It's doing the comedy, but it's definitely like a love letter to the that kind of Motown kind of scene of music. So it's a bit of both. Like Dan Aykroyd and John Belushi, like the whole film was born out of their Saturday Night Live act, where they were just like the Blues Brothers, these two comedy guys. And have you ever seen when John do a backflip was like one of the most astonishing things you could see. It's like, how's this dude able to do a backflip? Yeah, he was. It's like, that's pretty talented. I was quite envious of that. Anyway, back to Galaxy High.
I love this gag. Milo was like, and here's the gym. Oh wait, where is it? And then the gym just walks in, and it's like, I am Jim. Just taking that English play on words.
Yeah.
Jim sounds like a name. Yeah.
But, and then we get to like Milo's like, oh, you're in luck. A girls' gym class is in session, and Doyle's like, girls' gym class.
I goes close.
It's so good. It's so good. He's like, hey, ladies, I know the way one of the feet going past him is like a bird lady or something. But that's the beauty of this. It's like, you know, Doyle's, you know, his arrogance and what he's experienced on Earth. Like he comes here and he thinks like, yeah, alien girls are going to find me handsome too. And it's such a nice twist. And like when Milo says, you're nothing special, the male population outnumbers, is it like females 3-1? You're nothing special, but she is. And then you get introduced to all the awesome kind of.
This was one of my favorite because I just love this collection of alien high school girls. It's such a
great.
fun.
Like, it's Wendy Garbo on the left is like, you know, she's like Amy, but the kind of, what do you call it, the mean girl kind of thing. That's Wendy's thing. They're friends, but you know, in a few episodes, you get to see like Wendy quite beautifully betray Amy. Bowie Bubblehead, I love her. It's like a real kind of 1980s ditzy character.
Yeah.
But she's Jennifer Darling, who does the voice, gives her that stutter, and it's kind of endearing and adorable. She's like, I'm not absent-minded. It's just,
she clearly got hit by something.
Yes,
it's given her short-term memory loss.
There's one scene in an episode called Beach Blanket Blow Up where they go to the beach, and on this beach the rules are that the women have to hit on the guys. And there's some like if you thought like some of the stuff in this was funny, it's a really funny episode for like some of the visual gags. And Bowie goes up, she's like, oh, I see a nice guy over there. And she goes over and speaks to him, and his name's Alan Airhead, and he's basically the same as her, like a kind of airhead. And they just have like this inane conversation where they just keep forgetting what's happening. It's just really funny. And there's another scene where there's these three dudes up to their necks in sand on the beach, and the first two get up and they're like really buff. And Amy's like, oh my God, if his body's as good as the other two, I'd love to go on a date with him. And she goes up to him, she goes, care to take a dip? And he's like, sure. And he gets up and he's just a head with a pair of legs. But it's for the music as well. It's like, it goes bloop. And she does this take where she's like, and runs off.
I love just the role reversals of everything. Like,
yeah.
I didn't know what to expect at all watching this. I thought, you know, Doyle's going to get here. They're going to treat him like the star that he's been on Earth. So immediately I'm hooked watching this because I'm like, oh, they're going to treat him like shit. This is great. This is brilliant. And with her, you can see like her brain just sort of sloshing around there, and it's such a good gag. And
she's my favorite. I just her design and the multiple mouths just moving.
The animation
around.
when she's talking to Amy is amazing. With like the mouths kind of attacking her.
That's my favorite. I just think that's the most unique and creative. Like they're all very unique, but I'm like that's the one that just stood out to me.
And it's funny when you look at John Kricfalusi, his character designs, like Bowie Bubblehead, kind of is born out of his earliest designs for these characters with like globe heads, and it's almost like he does a lot of amoeba work and those kind of weird random hairs kind of coming off of characters that you see on Beef Bonk. He's got those on his neck. Like Kricfalusi's designs, I always say that the best thing about this show is that it's the coming together of like really random elements that shouldn't work. You've got Hollywood writer, producer, or director, I should say. You've got sci-fi writers, like science fiction writers, like Larry Dutilio, Mark Scott Zickery, and a bunch of others. Not many, but a few. Then you've got John Kricfalusi, who hated the state of animation. He hates 1980s, hates action adventure, he hated filmation. He's like a real jerk, but he's a creative genius. Like he's a real jerk and a real jagoff, you could say.
He's like a real cock to me. So.
But when it comes to design work and that, he's almost like a genius kind of thing. Unfortunately, it's one of those things. Oh, such genius! Why him? But his design work on the show is fantastic. And then you pair all of that with a Japanese animation studio, and it's like, what the hell? This shouldn't work. It's like so random.
Yeah,
but yeah, it's
like what an eclectic group coming together despite their differences to just make something eclectic and stands out.
Yeah.
Compared to amongst its peers in the animation scope in the mid '80s.
I said on the video, and it's kind of maybe I'll say that for the end. Actually, what my point was going to be, but yeah, this scene of her, meeting the girls is great because it's something you see in this episode, and I don't think many people really appreciate is that the characters grow and change in this episode. Like Doyle starts off as a real, dick. Then he kind of goes through this moment of self-doubt. Then he becomes like, so Nathan.
All right, Nathan, are you broke over there?
It's just, this is two things. One time it was just like, he was a real cock. And then James is just like, dick. Just a pause you guys took in between kind of got me tickled. But go ahead, James.
So we're making Nathan laugh with phallic talk. It's basically what it's
well, if it's done right, it's always funny. Just some people just don't, and I deliver it very good.
Absolutely, yeah. We're going to do this all night. But yeah, but Doyle's journey in the episode is awesome because he goes off being a proper jock, then he gets the moment of self-doubt, and then by the end, he kind of comes good.
But he's not quite there.
No.
Yeah.
He does.
That's the beauty of it.
Yeah.
He admits that he's like, I got a lot of work to do. Like it's this experience alone is like showing me like, okay, I'm a work in progress here.
And with Amy, you get like her character's change is really kind of only superficial. She's when she becomes like, Amy Brightower, like the school star, she's still the same character, but she goes through the physical transformation, almost like Grease. Tell me about it. Stirred, nobody's seen Grease.
No, I more than I want to.
No, we're good.
Well, one day I'm going to make you both watch Grease too.
No, you're not. You ain't going to do shit.
No, you'll be like, this is
Grease
the greatest film I've ever seen. The second Grease film.
Yeah, no.
You want us to watch that?
No. Grease 2 is amazing.
All right. Well, I hope everyone enjoyed this episode. I love the gym teacher look here.
Alien Centaur, like that's a great concept.
There's one episode where the Japanese animation team go crazy on her horse movements. This bit always makes me laugh. That dog creature. If you watch the way it's animated, it's terrifying. It's all like
it's so fluid and odd.
But it's really weird. It's like, where did that thing come from? What is it? I mean,
it almost looks like a really wacky version of the Simpsons dog, Santa's little helper.
It does actually,
And like, is this supposed to be a frog or like
that one turns up in a lot of,
like, what is that supposed to be?
He or she turns up in a lot of kind of background shots as like, almost like a stock alien. It's like if you want something green with kind of eyes, pointing out, it's
like an alien Kermit.
Alien Kermit,
like from Muppet Babies almost.
Oh, that's a good shout, actually. And one of my favorite characters is like, how can a faculty member be your favorite character? But I love Miss Biddy McBrain.
But I also like this character. What is his name? The little bird guy.
She just goes like Dragos. His just name is Dragos. He just doesn't one appearance.
And you turn and you see his eyes and like his pupils because he has X-ray vision. Yeah. And just the way that he looked up at her made me chuckle. Yeah.
But I like the shot we get, his point of view of her being an X-ray.
Yeah.
And they animate that as well. And then they even animate when she puts the glasses on his face. It's like, it's touches like that. And I love her design. It's kind of freaky. But again, Pat Carroll, the voice actress, is so commanding with her role and like warm as well. And this scene I think is brilliant where she's like, Amy Brightower, your grades are impeccable. I am pleased as plutonium punch to welcome you to Galaxy.
I wonder what that tastes like.
But Doyle jumps in. He's like, Miss McBrain, may I just say that you are more beautiful than I've heard? And she's like, and may I just say you have a lot to learn?
And everyone laughs at her.
Everyone laughs, and then Doyle again becoming the butt of the joke. The whole classroom are laughing at him, and this. Not only is this a really nice visual gag with the blackboard being alive, but the animation on it, like the board flips up the chalk, he catches it. I think it spins, he catches it, and he draws his face. It's so beautifully animated. And yeah, basically, Amy gets delivered. They say, right, Amy, for your excellent grades, you're going to get, and she gets like a space car, space hot rod. And it's like amazing. He's like, and Doyle, what about me? And they go, well, we don't expect you to, go. Was it? We don't expect you to walk to work. And he's like, what do you mean walk to work? He's like, don't I get a scholarship? They're like, no, your grades are shit. You've got to get a job.
No scholarship?
Yeah, you got to get a part-time job. And by the way, here's your scooter.
He's just a 37-year-old scooter, like a used scooter.
And I love how the top of it, just falls off.
It's so good.
Which, admittedly, for future episodes, I need to change the increment on this from like 10 seconds to 5 because it did sort of surpass us seeing the visuals of the car. Which is a brilliant gag because it once again going back to the role reversal. She is being rewarded for actually doing well in school, where he's got to get a job, and I think that's even to this day that's kind of a good way to look at society. It's like you need to graduate high school so you can at least get a somewhat decent job. If you don't and you have to settle for your GED, then it might not work out so well for you.
Yeah,
but then again, everything these days is kind of chaotic, but
it's all a bit flip floppy these days, isn't it?
But they all laugh at
guys.
They all laugh at him.
But well, actually, while Tyler's there, I'll try and find that. What I'll try and do, Nathan, I'll send you. Bear with us, people.
Oh yeah, you go ahead. You go ahead and send me the messages, and I'll go ahead and put this out here to everyone watching right now. In the description down below. Go check out James's Serial Geek TV and subscribe to that. Also, check out the Dump Bin and subscribe to that because I'm going to be doing some stuff over there. Tyler and I have moved the spinner rack over to that channel. So if you enjoy comic books, head over to that side. Check out the spinner rack. I myself, I didn't get time to do it this week, but I was thinking of kind of piggybacking off of the video game magazine thing that I did on there last week.
That was really entertaining. Even though that video games at that point were kind of a bit alien to me, I still enjoyed your breakdown of that.
Well, I appreciate that, and I was thinking about covering maybe like a WCW magazine because I realized that I have not had a chance really or taken the opportunity to talk about professional wrestling in any forum on any of the two channels that we have here. So go subscribe to the Dump Bin and check all out all of that. Check out all of that content. There we go.
What kind of era of WCW magazine would you be kind of talking about?
2000?
No. God. Though that did have its bright spots, but no, I was thinking about
early NWO.
No, I was actually thinking about going back further than that, checking out early 90s, particularly the
Stunning Steve Austin.
The Sting Squadron versus the Dangerous Alliance.
Do you know what? The Dangerous Alliance is one of those kind of factions that I really wish I'd been watching at the time. Fucking Arn Anderson, Steve Austin, Rick Rude, and was it Tully Blanchard?
No, Bobby Eaton.
Bobby Eaton, that was it. Yeah. What a fucking managed by
Paul Heyman. What a stable of workers right there. That was.
I mean, I think that's what they said. I think Steve Austin talked about it once, and he said, "Yeah, I was part of that stable because I was a really good hand in the ring."
I thought you were going to say, well, goddamn, son, I was greener than goose shit.
It's like, chicken salad or chicken shit. It's like, I don't know. I don't think you're getting this quote right, but I love it. Do you know, I completely forgot until a few hours ago that it's WrestleMania this weekend.
It is.
Yeah.
I'll be honest, like last year I watched a lot of the build-up. This year, not so much, so I don't really know much of the story. But it's like, I'll still check out the matches because last year I really enjoyed it.
That's because James, the build-up to this Mania has not been that good. But that is a conversation for another time. James, you said you were going to send me some stuff, and I'm
just resizing the image as we speak.
Okay, well, when you send that to me, we'll probably go through all the images at the end of the show. So
sure.
Okay. There's the scooter. There it is.
We got it. Look at that. I love it. And also, if you notice, the confetti drops from the ceiling. It's like a few bits.
Yeah. Whereas before, when they revealed her, it was like this big, check it out.
It's like a big light show reveal.
Yeah, absolutely. But I love Miss Biddy McBrain's design. Like as a kid, when I watched this, I was never really a fan of like the kind of elongated out, misproportioned characters. But watching it much older, I really appreciate the design of her. And like I say, especially Pat Carroll doing the voice, it's such a like wonderful character, and she just gets like they even go into her backstory in a later episode as well. And here we meet Sludge the janitor,
which I love this because Doyle sitting there, he's like, I would just love to see a friendly face.
A friendly face, just one friendly face.
This little dog saunters up to him. It's like, oh, hey, pal, how are you? Starts to pet him. It just grows into this. It gets bigger and chases him around.
I just love it. He towers over Doyle and just chases him. And then you get this scene where they're just running through all these different classes and random things like this juggling guy. I don't understand what that is.
I love the randomness of
yes.
that. Yeah.
But yes, interestingly, here's a little deleted scene or deleted premise for the show. Originally, I think this is something I talk about in the video at length, but this scene was going to culminate in, wasn't Milo turning up to say, Sludge, down boy, down, and explaining who Sludge was. Sludge was originally owned by the vice principal, a character called Snidely Silverfish. It sounds awful, but like the character sounded fantastic because he was supposed to almost be like an antagonist. He was a vice principal that wanted to become principal. But the other thing is, like, he was, as per his name, like he was a snide kind of thing. His whole thing is, I'll do favors for the students, whatever you want. If you want a better grade, for the right price, all this kind of stuff. And I just thought, if this show had been 65 episodes, or if it had got a second season, he's a character I would love to have seen in it, because I think from him, you can generate stories. Like if you've got the vice principal who's vying for the position of principal and he's prepared to manipulate the students, I think that's like, what an awesome addition to the cast, because you don't have that in this show. The faculty are all kind of even and all on each other's side. If you'd have like, a kind of someone in the ranks that was prepared to upset the balance, I think that would have lent itself I think that would have done like wonders, as it were, for like more stories and stuff.
I mean, when you put it that way, it sounds good. But when you mentioned the name at first, I was like,
well, there was another character deleted that's almost like this is one I don't care that got left out. She was a teacher and she was a substitute teacher, right? But her name was Flora Facsimile. So her whole gag was that she could just impersonate any teacher. And it's like, that's a bit of a one note character. You can't really do much. You can do like, oh, look, this character wasn't really that character. But it's like, there's only so much you can go. And her design was like just a faceless robot. So it's like, nah, I don't know what that was. I think understandable why she got left on the cutting room floor.
I'm surprised that they didn't maybe make her more look like a mirror or something.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah.
But a good gag here saying, Sludge is the janitor, and it's like, no, Sludge, I think you're turning that the wrong way, and he makes that noise, and and then buzz on. It's like, that's another good gag. Once again, I found myself chuckling quite a bit in this first episode. I was like, you know what, that's kind of brilliant. That's pretty funny. I enjoy where they were going with that.
But it's like the amount of work that goes into it, and all the little animation here, like when they're on top of the junk heap, you see kind of each character kind of drying themselves down. Like I think Sludge is like shaking himself like a dog would, and then he obviously transforms into giant Sludge and just starts eating it. All the metal. He's the best junk disposal this side of Neptune or something. And then you just see him kind of doing laps, eating all the thing. And he just stands there proudly at the end, and he's like, not bad for a mutt. So,
And of course, you got to get your cafeteria scene.
Got the cafeteria
scene. I love this too, because we get introduced to Creep.
Oh, Creep is so good.
I like him. Yeah.
My friend, who I've known like since I was a kid, he doesn't remember. He remembers very little about this show, but the one thing he remembers is the Creep and his singing. And whenever I was like, oh, you remember the Creep? He just starts laughing. He's like, that was such a great character. It's like, yeah. just this little furball with these giant eyes and little wings, and he's like, oh, he looks kind of adorable. And then he's like a real like creep, you know.
And even this part here where you see Doyle sitting here, and he's like, all of this food seems really gross to me.
Yeah.
And you have Milo, he's got food in every hand and drink, and he's just consuming everything. Nice little gag too, but yeah, here's Creep. Comes in singing, and it's like, oh, that sounds really great. Oh, you shouldn't have done that.
The reaction shots from Wendy and Bowie in that scene, and the cat around Wendy's neck as well, which is alive. they all, it's the reaction, like Wendy kind of does this, like, oh god, and Bowie kind of grabs the lower half of her jaw. It's like, it's all these lovely little touches of animation, all these like reaction shots. But there's one, it's the last episode of the series. Doyle like knocks himself out and has this kind of like dream, as it were, that, well, it's not a dream, it's the entire episode, where he's a giant and they're back on Earth, and he's bumping into all the other, you know, classmates of Galaxy High. They're all now on Earth, and he hears
spoilers, man. Come on.
Sorry, but there's a concert going on. He lifts up the whole thing, because he's a giant, lifts it up, and he sees Creep there, and like all the crowd disperse, and Doyle's like this giant, and Creep just. He's like, Creep, it's me, Doyle. And Creep just starts going, he does this really weird, like, British singing as well. He's like, he's got the whole world. It is. He's got the whole, and he just collapses. But it's so funny. Like, the voice actor, Danny Mann, I think, was the Creep. You hear him on, like, he's in the film Babe. I think he's the voice of a duck or something. Or maybe I don't think he is, actually. He's in Babe. He's in a few other things. And it's just, he's such a funny voice. It's like, it's perfect for the character. But again, when you look at this,
great facial expressions, like the faces he makes in this episode, like they just, he goes to I think he's like is he used prominently in the series, or is he just kind of like random like appearances?
He becomes like he's part of the gang going forward, but he's not like I you know I love my sidekicks of the 80s. He's not used in that capacity where it's just like, oh, not him again. You know, it's not like that. No one could watch Galaxy High School and be like, oh, I like Galaxy High School, but I couldn't stand the sidekick Creep or whatever. He's not technically a sidekick, but you could put him in that.
He's category. Used sparingly in the other two episodes that I watched. Like, he's in it, but it's a couple of lines, and that's about the extent of it.
He's usually in episodes, like if there's an Amy episode, of which there are a couple, he's in that more because he's like a character you could well, no, I mean, obviously that kind of ends very quickly in the montage. You see like the barber kind of snip the thing.
Snips the thing. Well, let's talk about this right here. So he gets very enthralled by her. He sings to her, and she gives him a compliment. It's like, all right, well, we're attached forever, and has this attached around his neck and locked to her neck. And I was like, yeah, it's
that's when Gilda Gossip's like, why do you think we call him the Creep? It's just like, it's so good. But it's all the little like character moments as well. They're just like all the little animations and stuff. Even like this machine, it looks like a face. It's got like a nose and eyes. Yeah. It's got a mouth as well. And yeah, really brutal scene. Doyle gets turned into French fries.
Yeah, I don't have it here on the screen, but Doyle's like, I'm going to go introduce myself to these guys. And it's like, no, I think that's a bad idea. So it's kind of funny seeing both Doyle and Amy in this setting, both messing up and not realizing what they're doing. But Doyle walks up. Oh, hey, guys, how's it going? I'm from Earth. Meanwhile, we're introduced to Beef and the gang, and Beef's wearing a shirt that says Earth stinks.
His catchphrase, yeah.
So he picks him up, throws him in the fry machine. And I was like, all right. Very random, but turns him into a surprise.
I love about that confrontation with Beef, though, is that he goes from like 0 to 60 really quickly. He's like, hi, guys, I'm Doyle Cleverlow from Earth. And Beef just goes, Earth stinks. And Doyle goes, oh, yeah. Like, he wants to have a fight with him straight away. This is like,
I really thought that was Frank Welker doing the voice of Beef, too, because I thought that's an awful lot like Glove from Bionic
This is the thing. It's this is the thing that blew my mind. Like, not blew my mind. Like, I've known this for years, but I still can't get my head around it. It's John Stevenson, who's the voice of like Thundercracker in the Transformers. Now, if you know Thundercracker, he's got this wonderfully low guttural voice. I'm like, how does John Stevenson do Thundercracker and Beef Bonk? And then you start to think about more Transformers voices, and you go, Huffer, Huffer in Transformers has this kind of like high pitched voice, and you're like, yeah, I can see Stevenson doing that and doing Beef Bunk. But as a kid, I couldn't get my head around that. I couldn't imagine like elderly John Stevenson doing young Beef Bunk characters.
Young
like,
Beef.
Young Beef. There's one episode where it's like, where's the beef? Yeah, they're all chanting, "Where's the beef?" That's yeah.
Which I want to make a note here, because I told everyone in the description, if you want to watch the first episode, all episodes are on YouTube that have been uploaded, but they messed up. They title swapped episode 2 and 3. So if you go and click on episode 2, it's actually episode 3, and vice versa. So a little bit of confusion there.
Yeah,
because I watched it, and you look at the title for episode 2, which is, let me bring that up really quick for everyone.
Is it either Where's Milo or?
So episode 2 is supposed to be Pizza's Honor, and instead, when you click on it, you get the beef who would be king. Okay. And I was like, so I clicked on this thing of Pizza's Honor and sort of read the description, but then you get episode 3. So they kind of messed up on the uploads there, in case anyone starts.
I'm glad you said that.
To check that out, but Milo decided, he's like, all right, Doyle, I know exactly where to take you. We're introduced to another teacher.
Yeah, Professor Irving Eisenstein, who comes from the planet Froster, which I always kind of thought was a pretty cool little thing. I was like, I'm sure Larry Dutilio had a part in that.
Oh, I'm sure he did with that one.
Yeah, it's a really nice, like the gags as well. Like Howard Morris, who's like long-time voice actor, is the voice of Eisenstein, and he's like, who's this? He's like, this is my friend. He's from Earth. He's like, Earth? This is what Earthlings look like? And he's like, no, I'll put him in the molecular reconstructor, and then every time he comes out, right, he's a different
when
thing.
He comes out and starts crying like a baby.
Yeah, he's like, no. He's like, Milo's like, no, that's a flubby. Just like,
and just hearing his voice, I'm like, oh my god, that's Wade Duck, man. Like, I just, that's such a comforting voice when I hear that. I just like, because that's the voice of Wade from Garfield and Friends.
Yes, yeah, of course, yeah. He goes back to like Howard Morris goes back to like the 50s and 60s in terms of animation acting. Like he was doing Filmation cartoons as well. He's just if you watch interviews with him on YouTube, it's so funny because his natural speaking voice is like here, but when he kind of goes up and down, you hear kind of like these wacky voices. And I think he used to do a lot of these kind of classical voice actors did a lot of radio plays, so they were all about the voice manipulation. But yeah, Eisenstein's a great character in this series. He's he's just so fun because he's wacky, but he's also quite personable as well and quite loving. It's like really cute to have that kind of character rather than just be this weird aloof scientist. It's like, no, he kind of digs these kids,
Yeah, I like how he pulls the book out, the alien anatomy here, and he's searching through. He's like, yes. And reconstruction, Doyle comes out in a little ball. He stands up and he's like, I'm back in my human form again.
And here we get I really like this scene because it's, well, I mean, for a start, I don't think it's played for humor enough, this little moment here where Amy's like, hey, what are you up to? And he's like, oh, we're off to work. Like Doyle and Milo are having to go to work. And he's like, where are you? And she goes, we're going style shopping. So Amy and her friends are going shopping. Doyle and Milo are going to work. It's like, but they don't really play that for a gag. So kind of like Doyle's like, okay. And he's like, what's style shopping? And then you get this wonderful montage, which is about a good couple of minutes long of, and you could see how a lot of this was written. It was in the script, but you can see a lot of this taking place in like the storyboard.
Creep right there.
Just this little face.
So Amy gets her hair styled a little bit, and the stylist cuts the beads.
Yeah, the beads.
Yeah. It's not really held on by much here, and she's got a new hairstyle.
Yeah, and everybody's like, oh, terrific. Even the cat. I love the cat as well, like leaning in as well.
And then we, of course, have to find a new outfit for her. And we go through a variety of things, which is pretty cool. Of course, they're all giving the thumbs down.
Yeah, they do the thumbs up, the thumbs down. This is interesting because in one of the early pieces of concept artwork that I'll send you later, the kind of pre-version of Amy was like this blue cheerleader. So they were clearly, I'm not saying they wanted her to become a cheerleader, but they were clearly thinking, maybe we should make her blue because, interesting kind of like visual kind of thing. It's like she can change her skin color. I don't know if people would find that offensive these days. Like, you can't change someone's skin color. It's like maybe she identifies as blue now. So there you go. But yeah, she by the end of the episode, she's back to, I guess, her normal skin color. But it's like, I kind of like the idea if they would have made her blue for the rest of the series. I thought it would have been quite interesting.
It would have, but I also like the concept of this is sort of like
just a silly little,
like a tanning salon kind of situation. Well, I like the whole thing. It's just like, what color? What color?
Like the one before her says, "Sir." She does like a merman voice. She's like, "Sir, true."
Yeah.
And then Amy, because that's the thing I like about when they ask Amy, she's like, "Color," and Amy goes, she laughs and she goes, "Blue," because it's almost like she hasn't really thought about it. She's like, "I'm going to be blue." But yeah, and then you get the reveal, which unfortunately the bloody time thing won't let us see.
Yeah. Maybe I can let's do this and see if it catches it. No, it doesn't.
That's not. Oh well. But yeah, you get like kind of almost like a model sheet pose of Amy in her new costume.
Yeah.
The weirdest thing about Amy's costume design, it's not always obvious, is that
I guess I could do this. Let me do this.
Go on, mate. You got this. It's like you know what you are right now. You're like a DJ. Like you're trying to find that specific groove in the track. Like there you go. Yeah. Representing Souls of Mischief. There you go. Representing with my hip hop crew. But yeah, it's like the funny thing about Amy's design when you look at, she's got like a Saturn, like a planet with a sphere. A planet with a what do you call it? A thingy around it, a ring around. There we go. There she is. But the thing that's I always found odd about her design is that the planet on her chest is actually to one side. It's really weird. You think, oh, it's going to be center, but they actually designed it so it's actually off to one side. And you see it in certain scenes where and even in the model sheet, it's off to one side. It's like, what a strange choice. Like, I could understand like a Star Trek one up here or something in the center, but off to one side, I just think that's like a really, bit of an odd design. It goes against my, love of symmetry. I'm like,
I mean, maybe that's what they were thinking. If we do it, it's just different from. You have that one guy. What's his face? That fucking hated everything.
Oh, Chris Velosa.
Yeah. He's like, you know what? Maybe he had the input. It's like it's shifted over to the side. I'm tired of everything being centered. This is dumb.
No, that is probably almost definitely his. Well, I mean, he did design the characters, so I wouldn't be surprised if he did it just to spite the animators. But yeah, then we get introduced to Luigi's Luna Pizza Parlor, which is
I love that there's just a pizza parlor hanging off to the side from the
off to the side, just getting the old whoosher tubes, or you can drive there or fly there. But yeah, this is kind of like, I guess, we will get to meet Luigi, where it's like,
I love that you have Milo cooking all the pizzas because he's got all these arms, which becomes the gag with Doyle, you're going too slow, and he's just like,
you got to work faster. He's like, he worked hard, he worked fast. He's like, he got 6 arms,
and it goes more to the whole thing of just. It's going to lead to the character growth of Doyle. He's used to being the best at everything, and now all of a sudden he sucks.
Really.
And he's got to step his game up to really prove himself to not only everyone else but to himself.
Nathan, you saw Pizza's Honor?
I did, yes.
Like, one of my favorite things about that episode is the end, which is clearly Larry Dutilio, kind of like slightly. Not poking fun at 1980s cartoons, like the summary where Doyle's like he's talking to Luigi. He has to deliver pizzas to like this planet that nobody goes to, and he does it, and he comes back, and he's like, I learned that pizza is like the cosmic glue that turns monsters into friends. And everyone goes, oh, frats. It's just like he's trying to deliver this really flowery speech, and everybody's like, oh, shut up, Doyle. It's like a really, like, there's a lot of that in the series. There's a few moments where Doyle kind of does something like, oh, but then they quickly bring him back down. It's back to Earth.
I mean, which is kind of brilliant and ties into the whole thing. Just it's easy now for Doyle taking this guy who's so full of himself, and we can just razz on him like this and keep his ego in check and like, hey man, now you understand what she went through when you're back on Earth.
Yeah.
Deal. Is that ever kind of addressed a little more as well?
There's a deleted scene in the original draft script, and it's again something I highlight in the upcoming video. Is the original, like the end of this episode, as we will see, is Amy and Doyle kind of saying like, she's like, "Oh, you did well out there today on the thing," and blah blah blah, and they're all very nice. Originally, Doyle was going to have this speech where he's like, now I know how you felt on Earth," and she kind of nods, kind of thing, and it's like, oh, he's more reflective than he is in the episode. In the episode, you can tell at the end he's like, "Oh, I've learned a lesson," and he says, "I'm still going to have to keep trying to prove myself." Whereas in the original script, he's like I say, he's a lot more reflective towards Amy. And it was almost like, "I'm sorry for how we were to you back on Earth." So it's like, oh, okay.
Yeah, maybe they kept that deleted because they didn't want to entirely get him to that point yet.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, have a full arc in the episode where he's completely like a new person altogether. Yeah,
this is one of my. It sounds crazy. One of my favorite shots and it's one thing I love about Japanese animation. Just again the little touches. Doyle walks into shot like Wendy on the right there. I think she kind of blows him a kick. No, he walks up to her and he does like what you see in a lot of Japanese animation is this kind of gesture. It turns up in all the best Japanese episodes of like Mask. I'm trying to think like Bionic 6. It's just this gesture of like the two finger salute. So Doyle does it and Wendy kind of blows him a kiss. But it's just there. You're not paying attention to it really because you're focused on Gilda gossip going on about, the latest gossip. And then Doyle sees Amy. He's like, "Amy, what happened to your hair?"
Amy gets her shots in. She's like, "We need more cheese on this." I'm like, "Oh, Amy,
take it back." Yeah.
Which I guess if I was in her position too, and having my experience in high school, I mean, Tyler, I feel like could relate to Amy more than I could. Honestly,
I honestly, as I was watching this, like. Even though I liked playing sports, I felt that I was athletic. I was not anything like that. I related more to Amy in terms of like I was quiet, kept to myself, wanted to try and do good in class and stuff like that. So yeah, and then you finally kind of get your opportunity, like, where you get to kind of enjoy
the spoils of victory.
Yes.
In a manner of speaking. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, we got this little moment where he's dancing away with Amy, and then Beef Bonk shows up. And one of the comedic visual gags is when Beef gets angry, he turns blue, which I always really like.
Oh, because he's red here, so it's like when you would see in other cartoons when they get angry, they turn red and take it in red and make him blue.
I always love Rotten Roland. He's just such a great character.
Yeah. Again, just the sniveling sidekick. Yeah, boss. Yeah, you tell him. Yeah, you're the man. He's the hype man to him.
Yeah.
He's the.
You're doing great.
What's the line from Karate Kid? The famous like, Johnny.
Put him in a body bag.
Oh, that's it. Put him in a body bag. Yeah.
Yes, he's that guy really. But it's then they have the big kind of Zuggle Ball game at the end.
And it's like what Doyle's like, what is Zuggle Ball? It's like hockey, but the puck is alive.
I wonder what Nathan thinks of that.
I love it. I love the idea. It's like, oh, here we go. And this still right here. Just look at the different types of characters you have in the background.
And they're all moving. That's the other thing as well in this shot. I think, Coach Frogface, voiced by Pat Fraley, Krang from Ninja Turtles.
And I love mid-speech, a fly comes into the shot, and he's like,
he does that. I think in every episode, there's always a fly, and he just like, and he kind of grabs it out of the air. But everyone's kind of rooting for Doyle here. Some of those alien designs are terrifying.
He pops in as the referee, and it's like, oh no, he's gonna cheat.
It's like, he cheats. And again, the lovely little touches with animation, like Doyle walks up to the thing and he's all kind of proud, and like Beef zooms in to almost like take him out. There's always, again, all the little asides. Yeah, it's the Zuggle Ball game, and it's I really like the solution to this. Like he gets the first couple of points and Beef gets one, and because he cheats. I think he breaks his stick. Yeah, when he kicks the ice in his face. It's just like, it's a little moment, and like Doyle shakes it off and kind of does this like really angry pose.
Yeah, and I love Milo's dressed up as like a coach, just being like, "Come on, Doyle, you got
this." Yeah, it's true. Yeah.
Yeah, it just kind of like this whole thing harkens back to me of just watching movies. I don't think Tyler's watched it. James, maybe you have Airborne.
No, I can't say I have.
Yeah, it's like that coming of age film where there's a hockey player, or he's a rollerblader from California, and I think they go to Minnesota, which is like hockey country. So it's like, oh, it's the same thing, but fish out of water. He goes up there,
Yeah.
all the kids are mean to him, and there's just so many elements because I always enjoy these kinds of things. Of obviously Doyle is trying to
prove himself
and just become what he was on Earth. So I just like the duality of going from one place to another and just not fitting in and trying to fit in and being pushed back and working through that. But I just enjoy this little game here in this scene. And you build it up. Oh, they're tied at 2. How is this going to go?
And then Amy helps him. Doyle, play football.
Yeah.
And he picks up the Zuggle ball and kicks it for like a field goal. And it's just
which you would think in the rules of this game would almost be illegal, but I guess anything goes, right?
Yeah, it's just like, well, if Beef's cheating, then he can too. But yeah, this finale is kind of, it starts off, you think, oh, this is how this scene's going to go. They're going to make up and be best friends.
And this was a good twist because it did get me. I was like, okay, they're going to go with the traditional trope of like, okay, they're going to become, and it's a great zinger.
Yeah, she's like, he's like, I'm going to have to prove myself. And then, earlier on in the episode, he said, hey, Amy, how would you like a date? And then he tricks her, and he's just fooling her. But here he says, like, hey, maybe we can be friends. And she's like, how about a date? And he's like, sure. And she's like, good, then you can date. And yeah, creeps up there. The whole time he's like, but Amy, no. And she's like, you can date Gilda Gossip. And Gilda comes up, how about a kiss, Earth Boy? And she's like, all the kisses. But yeah, it's such a, like, as far, and the funny thing is, like, I always, not for the longest time, but sometimes when I think of Galaxy High, I think, oh, that first episode is like really beautifully animated, and then maybe the rest taper off. And then you watch the other episodes, like, no, they're all animated like so superbly well. I mean, you see all the Japanese. There's John Cristofalusi's name, or we just passed it anyway. But yeah, all the Japanese directors working on it. It's like, man, they really put in the work. I'm just finding that file for you, Nathan.
What's the name of that guy again? The cock.
John Cristofalusi.
I want to see what this guy looks like.
While you guys kind of do that, and James, you're sending that to me, I'm going to pull Tyler, and I'm going to excuse myself for a second.
Yeah, Kric.
There he is.
Yeah.
Hey, he looks like an asshole.
I mean, if you look at what he's been up to lately, it's like probably some stories we shouldn't repeat on the podcast.
Oh no!
Oh boy!
Just look at this guy.
Let's just say grooming.
Oh
no!
Fuck him.
But like I say, amazing artist. Unfortunately, but yeah, Tyler,
you're a dime a dozen. These guys linked to grooming.
Oh no, it's pretty, yeah. But you enjoyed it, the episode?
Oh, absolutely, dude! It's a wonderful show.
Like I say, it's one of those things where, I mean, the DVD. I'll probably talk about this a bit when Nathan comes back. But the DVD release of Galaxy High School was came out. I want to say around about 2000. I feel like it was like 2000, maybe even earlier. Like, let's say 2006 or 7. Something.
That's
like
still
that.
pretty early though.
Pretty early, but terrible in code. Like, they must have, like, I'm someone that used to work in the DVD industry, so I knew all about like variable bit rates and constant bit rates, about how you encode from the master tape to the, turn it into a digital encode. They did such a shit job. It's some of the episodes, like, for the most part, are okay, but when there's one sequence where in one episode, Doyle, let's just say, he goes through an experience and he turns into this dragon, and the animation is gorgeous, but because it's like really fast, it just pixelates like a shit, and it's just like, I just keep thinking to myself, just such a shame. Like when we for this video I'm doing, I sent Dushan about 600 images. Like, I captured them from the episode. And he upscaled them all. Like, and they all look gorgeous now. Like, I'll send Nathan an example so you can see just how well the images came out. But it's like, wow, they you look at it and you think, oh, if you can do this, our level, they can definitely do like a Blu-ray release or something.
Did they do any special features for the DVD release, or is it pretty much just it's just the episodes?
Yeah, it's that classic special feature, episode select.
Oh boy, I love that option.
I always love that when you get the original like my From Dusk Till Dawn. You look at the back, special features, chapter selection.
Well, yes.
Which, in fairness, when that DVD came out, that was fucking new though.
Like, I guess just because when I got DVDs, it was a mixed bag. Like I remember picking up like some of the earliest ones, or there was no options. Like I remember getting in Batman '89 in the snap case. The movie just starts
snap
playing.
Cases, yeah. I've still got my Ninja Turtle snap case for the 1990
I had that for
movie.
years. That I still have Batman because that was one of the first DVDs I ever got for Christmas of like '99, I think.
Wow.
So I still have it. I just for sentimental value, I've just never felt comfortable just giving it away. And because I got it on Blu-ray, but I'm like, I've
still got the first 2 DVDs I ever bought, which I bought before I actually got the DVD player, like a couple of months before I got Ghostbusters and Go, which was like some random.
Yeah.
I remember Go, and Tyler.
Yeah, me too.
Will appreciate this. I remember watching it. VHS was a rental. I went over to John Rebecca's house, and it was like her and
John Rebecca.
It was her and all of her friends, and we hung out and watched it. And it's probably something I need to revisit, because when I watched it that first time, I was like, what the fuck is this? I like the idea that it's like an intertwining story. So it's, if I remember correctly, it's like introducing characters, and it's like, oh, this character pops up, so you see a little more of what they were doing here, and then it reverses back to some stuff. It's been like 25 years since I've watched it. And it was
been that long since that
came out in 99 or 2000.
It was 99, yeah, because that's right.
Okay.
I went to the cinema to see it by myself because nobody wanted to go with me to see it. I was like, come on, guys. One of the funniest things, one of the actors in it, the British guy, was like, he was in this film, Go, but before then he'd been in like this kids' TV soap. So we're like, how is Desmond Askew in a Hollywood film? It didn't make sense to us, but yeah, somehow he did it. Nathan, I've just sent you, or I've just shared with you via Google Drive 3 files. One is the John Kricfalusi artwork, and then the other 2 are just an example of upscaling. Dushan recently, for this video I'm doing, upscaled the images, so you can just see like the quality of the upscaling, like what is possible.
All right, I will get those downloaded. I had to like do them on my phone and then send them to myself. Yes, so the biggest thing that I was curious about this entire time that we're going to sit here, the 3 of us, and discuss this. Tyler's always the biggest wild card in terms of movies, animation, practically anything. If we're going to consume something not only for the first time, but something that I think is a little more at the onset of telling him something about it, I could see him be like, I don't know about that. But Tyler, with you watching this first episode, and I got hints of it, you were talking about, I really like this and I really like this. I want to get your thoughts on just watching that first episode as a whole.
I genuinely liked it. I thought it was very entertaining, very well written. I loved all the details, from the various aliens in the background to the design of the core cast, setting them up. It was like a great pilot episode that doesn't feel like a pilot episode.
Yeah.
Like I almost feel like this could have been, even outside of being introduced to Doyle and Amy, you feel like the things that are happening could have very well been in another episode as well. So it's not a by the numbers pilot, but it pulls you in because it's so interesting with all the various gags and things, and just all these like small little characters. Like I said, I really liked the Creep a lot. I just thought that was just this.
Creep is a great character.
Just something that he's not there a lot, but it left such an impression on me. And the Gossip Gertie, I cannot remember what her name
Gilda
was.
Gossip.
Yes,
Gossip Gertie. Yeah,
Batman
that would have worked too.
Yeah. But I just thought that was like a really interesting concept of an alien, along with so many others that showed up in it. So I definitely would like to check out more of the series, honestly.
The thing I like about the series is that every episode feels different. It doesn't feel like, we're going over this ground again. You get the kind of repetitive, not repetitive, but like, Beef and Doyle, Amy kind of, and Doyle is slightly, you get those, but the premise for each episode are like always so strong. The one of the best ones they do is when they have like almost like a bit of a Star Trek parody. There's that one. The beach blanket blow up one I mentioned before is like a really funny episode.
That sounds like a fun one. Anyway.
It's got gorgeous visuals in it. There's the Beef Would Be King is a great episode. There's one Where's Milo, that's a good episode. Like
Beef Would Be King. I don't want to spoil it for Tyler too much, but it's
the twist in that is really funny.
The twist in that is really good too.
There's one called Those Eyes, Those Lips, which is like a Bowie bubblehead story. Like Bowie got her own story, and they do like really good, meaningful scenes with her, and it's like this is a character who's like but they give us like really good character moments. Fun little fact, this you guys should appreciate this. Some of the scripts, I've got a bunch of scripts or episode premises that never went anywhere, two of which were written. He never worked on the series, but he pitched 2 episodes. Michael Halperin, the writer of the He-Man series Bible.
Holy shit!
He took a shot at Galaxy High School, and his episodes aren't that bad. When you read the premises, it's like I can see where this might have gone. One was going to be a school play premise, and the other was going to be this evil landowner who's going to take over this local zoo in space, and it's up to the Galaxy High School cast to kind of stop him. And
there's no astronaut called Biff Beastman showing up or anything.
Oh God! There's one episode that they really tried to get off the ground that's really interesting. It goes through about 4 or 5 different versions, and the whole point is to find out why Beef is like the way he is. So there's one called The Beef with 2 Heads. There's one called The Planet of the Bonks. There's one called My Buddy Beef. Those are the 3 I can think of, and all 3 of those deal with Doyle and Beef go in different ways, going back to his home planet, and Doyle finds out that Beef's race, society, are like they live for kind of chaos and bullying, and you get they were going to put little scenes in there. So like Doyle's like, oh, now I can see why Beef is the way he is. It's that whole thing about the classic, almost like a bit of a cliche. Oh, when someone's a bully, maybe look at their home life to see why they're a bully. And they were going to do that with Beef, and I think it would have been a really good episode. Like the premise is really interesting, and like I said, there's a few different versions of how they're going to do it. One was going to be a body swap one was going to be they were powered. Yeah, that's like the upscale.
God, so that's amazing. God.
So you can see how nice and sharp it looks.
I'll say the ones that Nathan sent me here, which I guess will be the 3 that pop up. Like they look fucking brilliant.
Yeah, and this is the John Christopher. This was like one of the first pieces for Galaxy High School. So if you look, you can see Doyle's kind of 2-tone hair there.
Yeah,
in the shot.
It looks very kind of Ren and Stimpy-ish.
That's I mean, yeah. You've got Wendy on the left there. If you look, that's Wendy Garbo, but it's like an earlier version of her where she's got like the blue skin and like that big blue hair kind of popping out. And at the bottom, you've got like early versions of Milo and Amy there. Milo with like just
is that Amy down at the bottom?
But it's like it's almost like a proto Amy. It's like it's clearly Amy, but it's not quite her. Then you've got Beef at the top right as well.
I'm the Beef.
I'm the Beef. Yeah. There's a character.
I like that. That's right.
If you scroll down, there's the character with the unicycle. He's got the wheel. That's Reggie Unicycle. He shows up in the series twice, and he's like a wonderful guest character. He's like a spoilt rich kid. Yeah. He's like, it's like
getting those vibes from that.
Yeah. That's like the early version of him, but that's like one of the early pieces of concept artwork. And it's funny in the UK. Yeah, I said about there was this Galaxy High School comic strip. On one of the covers of the issues, they used this illustration. So you can imagine me as a kid seeing this thinking, what episode is this from? And I remember like being really perplexed by this artwork, thinking like, I've never seen this episode. Like, what is it? And I knew, and it's funny, like years later, I mean, I'd seen the image since, but years later, Larry Dutilio hands me like his own lithograph of this image, and it was just
of course he did, James.
Yeah, of course he did. Yeah, but that's what this is from. This is like Larry Dutilio.
You can keep it if you want. It's fine.
Yeah, just like you take it. But yeah, it's a really good. And there's another like upscaled image, so you can just see like all the detail and stuff of the characters. But yeah, I always like Wendy Garbo's design, where she's sort of like this, sultry,
Very, yeah. For
but
such, they're very pretty characters. Like they're very well designed. Like
that's the
they're
thing,
just
isn't it?
yeah,
That you've
yeah.
got like there's some sequences where in the Bowie centric episode where they really make her beautiful, and it's like she's got a see-through head with her brain in, but the animators, the Japanese animators, clearly were like, let's make her like look cool because she's supposed to be. But yeah,
Maybe like, man, I'd fuck her.
yeah, some Japanese animators in the back. Like,
I mean, probably. Who knows?
Yeah, right.
Wouldn't doubt it. Those long nights. It's crunch time.
I mean, Japanese animation studios are crazy. But no, I'm glad you guys like the series. Like,
absolutely, man.
I can ask the question: would you watch more?
Yeah,
absolutely.
Absolutely. I mean, I did. After that, I was like, I'm going to watch a couple more episodes after that. And I told Tyler, I was thinking no matter what, I was going to watch them, like whether I was drawn to the show or not. I was going to just to see where the series would take it. But after watching that first one, I was like, I'm kind of all in on this. And it's a shame watching it now because I'm going to be like, it'll be criminal that there weren't more than 13.
I said,
but understandable on the same hand, I guess.
Yeah. I kind of say in the summary of my video, like, 10, 20 years from now, people might not even be, not even be talking about it anymore. Like, it may just be forgotten. And the only remnants of Galaxy High School will be like maybe the episodes on YouTube or like the odd video essay like mine or something. And it's just a real shame that would be the case because, I don't know, but you never know. There was talk of a live action movie at one point that Chris Columbus was trying to get off the ground, but never happened. Probably for the best, to be honest. Like,
I was gonna say, I don't know how well that would work today.
It is, but watching it, I could see how it could make for a good movie, if that makes sense.
I think it's that thing of like these days I know it's going to sound like just cynical old man, but I have such little faith.
You're right.
Little faith in
I was thinking maybe like mid 90s, early mid 90s.
I think
if it was a film, it would have been okay.
Because I think back then they were not afraid to make edgier stuff for kids. Because it makes me think of Heavyweights. A movie that was just clearly like we're going balls out with the jokes and not holding back, and we look at it today as like, God, that movie's fucking amazing. Even when we were kids, it's even better now as an adult. This is the kind of property that would have to been done at a time where they didn't mind pushing the boundaries with children's entertainment in a live action movie.
Yeah, I know you're spot on with that, I think.
And I think given maybe the time period too, if they took this and turned it into live action, like obviously if they did it in the late 90s, I could see you maybe dashing in a little more humor, and Tyler's going to roll his eyes at this a little bit, but something you would see in like She's All That kind of stuff where it borders that PG-13 almost to an R, but not really. Yeah. I could see them doing something in
I can see that.
Yeah,
because you are dealing with teenagers, so teenagers have to have a little bit of a, slightly adult-oriented, content, with references to, various mature stuff, but not going full on out with it. But
I think early 90s probably would have been best.
Yeah, because I think about how I said we still enjoy Saved by the Bell, like, that kind of comedy, which some people may roll their eyes at. Some of it I think is quite damn humorous even today. I don't see it as fully dated outside of a couple things in it, but if this had been done like in like 99, I think about like the CGI for that time, like
that's what I'm thinking. Yeah, it's like
God.
But true. I think I still stand by my kind of statement of I think if this cartoon had been on MTV in like maybe the early 90s or late 80s, it would have. I mean, we used to think about MTV in the late 80s. My God, like what when MTV teamed up with WWF and kind of did the rock and wrestling connection. I know what you're saying, but that did kind of almost propel WWF into a bigger, wider audience. Like,
absolutely.
Oh my God, Cyndi Lauper's going to be in WrestleMania, and the kind of I think with Galaxy High, you could have almost done the same thing. It's like you put it on MTV and maybe it's on another network or something. I don't know how these things work, but you think I think that would have propelled it, and people go, "Oh, that Galaxy High School." I think it'd be more widely remembered. It may have only had 13 episodes, but I think people would still go like, "Oh yeah, Galaxy High School used to be on MTV when MTV was an actual decent channel,"
Yeah.
Whereas, it was on obviously CBS for like a fart in the wind. It's like, oh, here we go, and then it's gone again. That I think it was in, because it was in the same block of programming as Pee-wee's Playhouse.
Yeah,
So
I'm surprised I didn't see it because I was watching Pee-wee. I think me and Nathan talked about it too, probably around the second season. So I don't. Was it in syndication in '87?
No, so it was still on CBS. CBS showed it sparingly, but it was always on network. CBS.
Okay.
Galaxy High, to my knowledge, never went into syndication.
Tyler, there could have been a chance that you and I would have caught an episode of this offshoot, but I just don't remember.
Well, from what I've read and stuff, it was in that block of like 2-hour children's programming.
Yeah,
it was like the last one.
Babies, Pee-wee's Playhouse, and then before and after, I don't remember. That's all I can remember was watching this back to back.
That was either before Galaxy High School or later, because the block of program initially was Galaxy High School. This is not in the order. Galaxy High School, Pee-wee's Playhouse, Teen Wolf, the Teen Wolf cartoon.
Yeah, I watched that. Yeah, I remember watching that. Yeah.
And some cartoon which I vaguely recall, never seeing it, but vaguely recall seeing on the internet, called Wildfire. I think it was like a horse one or something.
Never heard of that one.
Hey, Emily, you heard of that?
Yeah. There's a horse cartoon.
10 out of 10.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. No recollection of this. But I think too, like maybe if I watched this being that young at the time, I don't think this show would have appealed to me. I think it appeals to me way more now as an adult as it would have as a kid, because I think as a kid in animated form, watching something in high school probably wouldn't have
interesting.
resonated
I like
with me
Teen Wolf,
much.
Though. I love the Teen Wolf cartoon, so I feel like if I had
what about the new Archie's cartoon? I vaguely remember that. That was
never saw it.
I didn't either.
And even as a kid, I was like, Archie, that's that lame comic about that goof and those two girls. Like I was so disappointed.
Why is that dude wearing a crown on his head? I don't understand anything.
I'm just like this stuff's for pussies. That was my thought.
Can you call up that image, the John Crispolucci image of all the illustrations of the characters again? If you zoom in, I'll point out something I don't think many people have clocked over the years. Right, so there's Jughead, and if you go to the left,
holy shit,
there's Archie with the R on his chest, because he's got the Archie has the orange hair, but he has that kind of weird little hashtag down the side of his I was like, he's done holy Archie shit. And Jughead in the illustration.
It's like poetry,
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
But it's so bizarre.
Well, here are a couple of questions. A couple of comments and a couple of questions that we have from the chat. This first comes from Ollie. Such an underrated series. I discovered this about 2 years ago, and I've watched it numerous times.
Good work, Ollie.
Well, make sure, because James has mentioned it enough. Click on the link below. Go to Serial Geek TV, and you just await that 4-parter. Which am I allowed to ask this?
Right back, guys.
It's going to be 4 parts. Or what is the release window when you do the first episode of this and then subsequent episodes?
I can probably tell the exact dates, but it's like I always do those things. So I do an episode commentary every other week. So when I do a video, like a part series, it's every other week. But I'm just trying to find out when I think it sounds like it's a way off, but obviously, it gets here pretty soon. Let me just look at my schedule. People don't believe I have a schedule. It's like,
I think that's kind of the best way to go about producing any content like this on YouTube, whether it's the form that you have here or something like we've done. Having a schedule and planning ahead like that definitely makes it easier to get it done and absorb the material in a timely fashion, kind of thing.
But it also enables me to get like way ahead of schedule as well.
Yeah. Remember
This is so weird. What I've just realized. This is not planned. So.
Oh yeah, sure. We talked about this ahead of time, James.
What?
Well,
it's just one of those moments. It's like that's so random. So I didn't plan this. I just when I'm putting the videos in the schedule, I'm like, right, Galaxy High School videos, I'll do them on these 4 dates. The first one, part 1 of my Galaxy High School video goes up on the 13th of September 2025. Galaxy High School premiered on the 13th of September 1986.
Holy shit.
So
there you go.
So what was that, 39 years to the day?
Yep. Cue George Lucas.
That's nuts, yeah. So yeah, 13th September. The next one's 27th. Next one's 11th of October. Next one's 25th of October. So it's like 4 parts, and it's like the first one's all about Galaxy High School and the series and the preview of the series Bible, like the beginnings. Then the next one's all about the series Bible. The next one's about the pilot episode and the unproduced scripts. And then the last part is almost like a summary where I talk more about Larry Dutilio and stuff. So yeah, it should be. It's a lot of fun. Where's all my images? Like I've got. Hang on.
So
Grandpa's got accesses. Like here's all my images I've got to get for this video. So.
A little behind the scenes of how things are done.
Yeah, it's a nightmare.
So just treat this episode of animation like a teaser trailer that you would get in the cinemas, where you get this, and then 5-6 months. There you go. And then 5-6 months down the road,
balls like tickling balls or something like that.
I saw that video again of. I don't know if we can do it without getting shut down, but the one with Shawn Michaels teasing the.
Yeah, don't do that.
The fans like
so. Yeah, there you go. So take that and treat this much like a teaser for your full feature film coming out 5-6 months down the road. So Ollie, appreciate you in the chat. Obviously, you subscribe. That's how you're able to chat when we're live here. So appreciate your subscription. We had a comment from Sean. This goes back early. Grease 2 is better than the first one.
Why are you even talking about it? Oh my god!
I mean, I had to bring. Tyler, he's like one of those dipshits with a can of dip. That's like, why are you doing that before
smacking it around?
Why?
And they did it. It's like they were so publicly. They wanted people to know. Yes.
Look at me. I'm about to put this dip in if anybody wants to watch. Like,
with their Mountain Dew bottle in their back pocket, their fish hook on their old beat to shit ball cap has been wiped their ass with.
Who are these people?
Our classmates.
Talk about the fucking Galaxy High. Let's do an animated version of what we went to school with. My God.
Nathan was still the show because he's walking around just making fun of everything, and it didn't matter what it was. He's breakdancing because this is fucking lame. That's what Nathan would do. I want to emphasize Nathan would dance in public if he would want to mock anything from shitty music, Abercrombie and Fitch. Didn't matter what it was. He would glide on air like Michael Jackson, except going forward. He would moonwalk forward.
Oh wow!
And it was just, oh my god, just how he would be just so boisterous about making fun of stuff from the He-Man battle packs from 2002.
I made fun. All right.
Oh, that's very specific
context.
Because I remember it was at Kmart.
We told this story a few times in the past, but we'll go ahead and tell it again. So during this time on the weekends, NYP is out. We have the Ninja Turtles cartoon is back. It's like our childhood. We're in our late teens, early 20s.
It's a renaissance.
It's everything is back. Holy shit, this is amazing, right? So the 2000X figures are out in stores, and every weekend we're going Walmart, Kmart, KB Toys, Target, anywhere we can go. We roll up into this Kmart, we're walking through, and we would do, I think about this all the time when I walk into a store. Tyler and I would do this shit where we would get out of the car and we would slowly be walking to the store, right? We get through the doors, and of course, in department stores, the toy section is usually the back corner or the very back. And we're walking slow, and all of a sudden, like either one of us, depending on who would want to initiate this, start walking a little bit faster. Then the other one would start walking a little bit faster, and we start like putting arms in front of each other. Like if we get to the toy aisle and I find something and I grab it, I got dibs, right? So we go into this Kmart, and we're fucking around doing all that stuff, and we get to the toy aisle, and Tyler gets in there, and he freaks out. He's like, oh my God, I can't believe it. And he walks up and Tyler, what is it that you grabbed?
The Battle Flight Pack that was I guess it was both of them. They
had both of them.
They had both of them, yeah. And Nathan just goes, yeah, just really loud, like just mocking me for being so enthusiastic about it, and then you pick them up and throw them back against. Yeah.
Yeah, because he already had the two in his hands and he was shaking. He's like, I can't believe it. And I grab these. I'm like, oh, man. And I take them out and throw them. Like, why are you excited about these?
You did the right thing, Nathan.
Yeah, I was not going to miss out on
but it also goes to prove, and I'm sorry, Tyler, to interrupt you. It goes to prove that there was one point in time where Tyler was very much excited about anything new. The new toys, new what he was in that position. We all
were. Yeah. Like,
I had to make fun of him for it.
Yeah, no, I'm rightly so. Yeah. Like, even as much as I enjoyed the 2002 stuff, those flight pack things were garbage. So yeah.
I mean, I look back at damn near most of that stuff. I'm like, God, I bought everything mint in box and wanted to take out fucking everything, man. And I was just shitty box art, shitty card art.
I remember one guy in the community just buying. He bought, I think, 3 of everything, and it's just like, what an investment that proved to be.
And Tyler, Mattel thanks you for your service.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, they can just eat my ass, okay?
Here is the question from Jaime Mares. Did any of the 3 of you guys play high school sports?
I played sports in high school, but not for high school.
Same. Yeah. I played baseball, but I didn't play baseball for the high school. I played the rec league baseball.
Yeah, I mean, I played football, soccer and stuff, but they wanted to get
James played
football, and I was like, oh man, James wearing a helmet and pads.
My school was always trying to get me to get into the running team because I was really used to be really good athletically, just super fast. And then I was just like, no, I'm not running. I don't want to run for the school. How lame is that? I wish I had. I'd probably be I might have had some Olympic records or something instead of being some dork that talks about He-Man.
James, same as you, I actually in middle school ran track, and then in high school I had thought about it, but it turned out that the track coach was also my AutoCAD teacher, and I
got my headphones in. I can tell you guys. I'm just changing something real quick.
And I'm like, I'm not going to do that because my CAD teacher, Mr. Levy,
Coach Levy.
A lot. I just
sing songs to Nathan in class.
Dude.
My goodness.
So he was he was big. He was religious, and then he was also kind of really into country music, and he played acoustic guitar, and we would be his test audience in AutoCAD class because there weren't as many of us at that time early in the mornings for CAD. This was the advanced class. So first year, beginner stuff, second intermediate, third year, you're advanced, you're sticking with it. You want to get certified in the program. So this is third year. This is my senior year of school. He's like, I want to test out this new song for everybody. So he'd go and grab his acoustic guitar, and my friend Josh and I, we sat our desks. So if I'm pointing here, this is Josh and I sitting here. His desk was probably 10 feet to our right. Josh was a little more close to him than I was. Pulls out his acoustic guitar and then sits front and center right at me, right? And he's in one of those really high up lifted desk chairs. So
is he clothed?
He is, but even us sitting at our desk, this chair sat up so high, and he was wearing these tight denim jeans, James. I mean, you can visualize right now. It's me telling you this. Spread Eagle got the acoustic sitting right on his batch, as Tyler would say, and he just starts, and he has one of those voices that's so he started, and I'm sitting there, and I do this. And then I start laughing, and I have to hold it in, and I just put my head down, and Josh is sitting there, and my friend Josh, love him to death. Aside from time, I've known Josh since 1993. And I'm like this, and I look up at him, and Josh is he's always had this awkwardness to him, and not only the way that he talks, but just his mannerisms. And he's just I see side profile of Josh, and he's just sitting there like nodding his head. I laugh more, but I have to not audibly laugh because he's playing this song, and it's just dead silent aside from his music, right? And I'm like, how am I going to? And then he finishes up. And at this point, I just got like tears rolling down my face. And I'm like having to clean it off. And it was so awful, dude. And I'm like, I'm glad I never would have ran track for this school because of him.
It sounds like he scarred you. We had a similar thing with a teacher. He was the computer studies teacher. And he came into assembly one day. He never took assembly. He was the headmaster or the, vice principal or whatever you call him. And the teacher comes in, he's the computer studies teacher. He's like, I was going to describe him, basically describe me. I was like, he was a guy with glasses, a beard, slightly overweight. And I'm like, I've just described myself. So he walks in and he's got his corduroy. He always wore corduroys. And he's on, bear in mind, like we're in assembly, so we're all sat on the floor, cross-legged, looking up. He's on stage, so he's like a good, 5 feet above us all. He pulls up a chair and he sits there with his guitar. And we're like, what's his name? I forget. Just like, what's he doing? And he starts playing a song that he's written about how much he loves his son. And we're all just,
oh my God,
we're all just stood there, like literally looking at one another, like, what the fuck is going on? But we all start giggling. Like the amount of times we got in trouble for just laughing. I mean, we were at school when we got beaten up by teachers. That was scary. Like teacher, one used to, Mr. Hester, child molester, used to pull us up by our sideburns. And be like, sir, just like pull us up. Like we're kids. He's pulling us up. I'm like, sir. Then we got the ruler to the legs and stuff. Our religious studies teacher, Mr. Hume, who looked like Mr. T, floored 5 of us in a row. He was like, our mate, like 4 of us were on the table, 5 of us on the table. We were like being a bit silly and naughty, and he made our friend Mansell stand at the front of the class. But Mansell was still like turning around, like giving us winks, having a laugh. So Mr. Hume like grabs him, he sweeps him, like so he kicks his feet out from him. Mansell falls on the floor. He picks up like a meter rule, walks over, like me and my friend Steve and sat next to each other. He gets through between our heads and goes, we're like,
wow.
Then he turns to the other 2 and he pushes one off the chair, and then he just he walks.
Christ.
But the best one ever. And it was like, I was like right next to this. There was this kid called Gary Johnston, who's no longer with us because he was just, even at school, you're like, he's going to have
he's not going to make it.
Seriously, he was sniffing glue. I remember like he and I just used, but it was all like, Gary Johnson.
Dude, James, we went to school with kids exactly like that. I remember looking to them, and they would get in so much trouble. And I mean, as we got older, it would escalate, not just beyond the school, but like they're getting arrested. And I'm like,
we in the class of 25, 26 we had, 6 are dead. They're all gone. And this kid, Gary Johnston. So Gary Johnston's in art class, right? Art class with our art teacher. Art, beautiful subject, right? Like whimsical and studying and creativity. And I'm sat next to Gary Johnston, and the teacher's at the front. So we've had to turn our chairs round. And we're on these high chairs with like higher desks. I don't know why that just was. It wasn't like the typical low desk. It was like high chairs. So, in order to get off the chair, you have to do a little bit of a jump. And so we're sitting there, and Gary Johnston next to me, he's like mouthing off, not like horrible, he's just being a bit of a dick in class. And the teacher's like, what was his name? Mr. Robinson. He was at the front of the class, and he was like, Johnston, be quiet. And he's like, yeah, whatever, sir. And he kept going on and on. He was just like Gary Johnston, like he'd probably been sniffing too much glue that day. And I'm sat next to him. So we're both on these chairs looking out. And Mr. Robinson just starts like kind of making his way over. Gary Johnston, obviously, it's either the glue or whatever, but he's like, fuck. So he goes to climb over this high desk. He's like I said, we're on.
Is he trying to get away from the teacher?
Yeah. So like he's like running over to him. Yeah, the teacher, like Gary Johnston, I'm sat like next to Gary Johnston, like all I see is him kind of clambering over the table. Teacher grabs his legs. It's like right in my mind. Pulls him off the table, gets him to the floor, punches him in the face, Can you imagine young James Eaton like? I'm just terrified, right? No, he punched him square in the face, and it was so loud. It was like bang, and he goes to, and he's holding Gary Johnston, right? And he goes to, do you want another? And Gary Johnston, being a dickhead, was like, yeah, go on then. And he went, he punched him. And he was like, no, sir, no. Needless to say,
he's like Bender in Breakfast Club.
Yeah.
But the rest of that lesson, like, we were just sat there like, oh my God. And he's trying to teach, you could tell the teacher was like, I done fucked up. And Gary Johnston now is just sitting there with a fucking shiner, like huge black eye. And he's just like saying, he goes, sir, you're fucking dead. He goes, because Gary Johnston, he came from like a crazy family. He was like, my brother's going to come down to school and they're going to knife you to death. Like, and he wasn't joking. And literally,
what the fuck?
We all go to lunch and then we're all called into like a little mini assembly, and the headmaster's like, yeah, we've fired Mr. Robinson. It's just
holy shit.
I mean,
he did punch him in the face
understandably
twice.
So. And I want to put this out there for anyone listening to this. Like, yeah, we're laughing, but Tyler and I were at the very tail end of this because we both went in the kindergarten in 1989, and here in the States, like, they had pretty much cut out paddling kids at school not too long before this point.
Yeah.
So, I mean, this was just common ground for teachers to take a paddle, or I think we even had here Zentron saying, yeah, definitely not a northern school. We would have gotten smacked with a ping pong paddle. So teachers did that kind of stuff back then. If it wasn't the teachers, it would be the principal or the headmaster, as James so eloquently put it. But that's just how it was back then.
We had another art teachers. There was another art teacher called Mr. Maguire, who you'd go in his lesson and he would just stink of booze. He was like this elderly gentleman. But I'm not joking. Like,
I had a teacher. I had a history teacher like that, Mr. Shaw.
Oh my God, I could tell you my history teacher. Jesus Christ, he was a nut job. But like Mr. Maguire, art teacher, he once, like, we were always getting detentions where he would keep us back after school. It was like, oh, we always we abbreviated to like, oh, I've got a debt. Like a DE to a debt meant like I've got detention after school, I've got to stay behind. I've got a debt. We were always getting debts. And yeah, Mr. Maguire once, he kept I wasn't here at this, but he kept a few of like my friends back. And then they decided that they were gonna just run out of the class, so they did. And he chased them through the local graveyard, and he was like jumping out from behind headstones. And I 100% believe that because I know what that situation was like. I was just like, Jesus Christ!
Teachers didn't get paid enough for that shit, and still don't, to deal with what they have.
I couldn't agree more.
One more thing.
Give us one more fucked up teacher story.
No. This was just a really amusing visual.
I want to see an animated version of the school you went to.
It's true. There was this isn't like a long.
Yeah, go ahead.
It was the way he did it, because to this day we all remember the way he did it, because, like, you know, like I said,
is that what you guys do? You all go meet up at his headstone, and it's just like recount the story.
But it was just that thing of like when he punches up, boom, and he goes, "Do you want another?" He's like, "Yeah, go on then." He's like, "No,
yeah, go on then."
Yeah, well, he's Jason Statham or something.
It was how quickly he went from, like, even though he'd just been punched, how quickly he went from like confidence to like, no more, sir. It's just like, yeah, you just got punched twice, man.
Yeah, he must have hit really. He must have punched pretty hard.
I mean, it's so like I say, he had a massive bruise. But there was one once we went into, it was really random. We went into art class again, And
so we had Mr. Robertson, and then
Mr. Robinson, Mr. Maguire.
Mr. Maguire. And now, after they've both been fired, we have our third teacher.
No, this was just a random replacement teacher. So our usual art teacher was this ridiculously 1980s blonde, big blonde hair, big knockers, called Juliet Jupp, Mrs. Jupp. And we all fancied the pants off her. It was just like, she's so hot. Oh, it was Juliet Jupp, and she was like, yeah, it was just, she was like astonishing to young 13-year-olds. We were like, when she walked in with her big blonde hair, we were like, what the fuck? How are we going to get any drawing done? Anyway, she was off one day, and we had a replacement teacher, and it was the funniest. We just all burst into laugh. We walk into the classroom, right? This is an art replacement teacher, and we walk in, and we thought, is this like some sort of joke? And the woman sat there with one leg in a cast and two arms in casts. We're like, how is she going to teach us anything? She can't even fucking walk.
Dude,
it's like, she was just like,
the pool for, we call them substitutes over here, but your replacement, the pool for that they choose from is just like whatever warm body wants to show up.
We kept thinking like it must be one of Mrs. Jupp's friends. It was just like, look, I'm not going to be in class because I've been out shagging all night because I'm a hot blonde. So do you mind taking over? It's like my arms don't work. It's like, don't worry, they'll just get on with their own shit.
It sounds like Mr. Robertson got a hold of them.
Oh yeah, I mean, like, he was breaking bones, and oh my god, yeah, I mean, the amount of our sports teachers, I mean, they were always trying to get you to go in the shower. I don't want to have a shower, so it's like, man. We had Mr. Cook, redneck, we used to call him, because he had a red neck. And he was just, and he was just.
I know, he's just got a can of Skull doing this. Hey, boy, who wants to take a shower?
But he would literally tell kids after sports, who's like, right, go and take. It's like, sir, I don't have any more lessons. I can go home and take a shower. It's like, no, take a shower. And he would just stand and have a chat while you had a shower. It's just like,
oh my god,
very much a Nightmare on Elm Street 2, right?
Oh, it's been a while since I watched that.
Yeah, where the gym teacher in the S&M club makes Jesse go back to school and take a shower.
Oh my goodness, yeah.
Just weird random shit. But that was one of my biggest fears about going to middle school. That's when they got showers. I'm like, oh my god.
Yeah, absolutely.
And we were not instructed to take showers. That was strictly optional. And I went to high school as well. Like they never made it, which fortunately. A lot of us didn't stink. We would work up a good sweat, but you put on deodorant. Your
I mean, that's
clothes are clean. So
I just tended to get out of it. I just pretend I took a shower. Like, I took a shower. So he was too busy looking at like probably the hot young boys, which is terrifying.
Coach Slippy Fist or something like that.
Oh man,
you're
I want to hear that again, Garrett. So, yeah, what was his? So he gets hit in the face. He's like, "You want to know? Yeah, go on then."
He was. If you heard Gary Johnson, he was like, "Oh, yeah, what, sir?" He literally talked like, "Oh, bloody hell, sir." But yeah, it was just like, "Do you want another?" Yeah, go on then. No.
I just picture like a British version of John Bender.
Go ahead.
Get
on with it.
Oh man. Yeah, I love that line.
I
just love how James said it because I can just picture this guy looking so like fierce. Like, yeah, go on in. Dave's making that face.
Honestly, I was terrified. I was just like,
that's how James came up with the Buster Tunes face.
Exactly.
The face he makes in that picture makes me think of what he was doing in that art class.
Oh, this one?
Yeah, that. There's no context to that picture.
Oh god. Oh dear. Oh man.
Here are two questions from Sean. James, has there ever been anything more about Lou Scheimer's production, Robin and the Dreamweavers, that has surfaced?
Yeah, I mean, you can buy it online. It's there's a website called On the Run. I think it's called On the Run Video, and you can buy it. But I would warn against buying it because it's not very good, and it's also very questionable. If you like mixing Care Bears with hardcore sex anime, then it's your cup of tea,
Tyler.
Yeah, if you want to do that, go on ahead.
You want any more of that? Yeah, go on then.
We'll be using that from here on out.
And part two.
No one else thinks this is funny, but I just
I mean, I don't care.
I don't care.
I don't care.
God. Oh dear, it's so good.
I hope it's one of those infectious laughs because the bird lapses, You'll laugh at this too. Then part two of the question, Sean.
Oh,
from
man.
Sean. Sorry. What unproduced filmation concept series would you like to have made?
Hey, you have a question.
I was getting like, dude, we laughed so hard. I was
me
getting a
anyway.
little
I'm sorry,
lightheaded
James.
over here.
Let me think.
Oh, God, I need toilet paper or something.
What would I like to have seen made?
I just got to get up again.
I'm trying to think.
I'm just sitting here with tears in my eyes.
Yeah, just wipe them off, much like what's his face did after he got punched in the face again.
Oh, here we go. Here we go. I've got one for you.
All right,
I would like to have seen the Black Star spin-off Bright Star made, because that was a series they were working. He's got to get. Oh man!
There was a Black Star spinoff.
Yeah, called Bright Star. It was going to be like the female. I don't know if it was like she was associated with Black Star in any way, but yeah, it was Bright Star on Sega, and she was like it was a spin-off. Yeah. But they only like did a few concept illustrations, but never went anywhere. But yeah, that would have been interesting. And like,
I have to ask, because I don't think I've ever talked James about Black Star. What talk James?
I think Tyler and I are experiencing the same thing, that we've laughed so hard that we're like sort of lightheaded. When you're trying to say, like, the words don't come out right.
Yeah,
right.
But I like being that off kilter because I'm laughing so much. Like it's I don't, that's the only high I like. I wish I could get experience every single day, but talk James. What the hell was I going to ask you anyway?
Concept series premise.
Huh? What the fuck was I going to ask you?
Oh, no.
I know we were talking about Black Star. Oh yes, I remember now.
Go on then. Oh man, this was going so well for like a good 2 hours.
I mean, up until this point, it really was, but whatever.
All right, what I was going to ask is, like, I don't think I've ever talked to you much about Black Star itself. Like, I love the visuals, but I've often found it to be a bit of a clunky storytelling show. It's just kind of like, I love the look and the mythology, but it's just kind of this. It's not Filmation's finest, but I still like it though. I think the toys are great. The character designs are great.
When you look at the premise of Black Star is stronger than the actual execution. Put it that way.
Yes.
It's got great designs, great characters, great world setting, great world building. But then the series is a bit like, it still feels like a 1970s Filmation production. Even though it's 81, it just feels like. Well, because in fairness to them, I mean, obviously they've done Flash Gordon and Tarzan, which
I
were
think
awesome.
Flash Gordon was superior, I think, in terms of like.
Oh yeah, in terms of storytelling. But what happened was, I think after that they did that 79, 80, and 81. They were doing all those comedy shows, and I think it was hard for them to kind of navigate a serious action adventure show. So I really think the best thing that Black Star did was kind of prepare Filmation for He-Man. I know that sounds like an obvious thing. Well,
that's how I've always looked at it, especially with the two halves of the power sword.
Yeah, all that stuff. It's laying the kind of loose foundation for what would become, He-Man.
Yeah. That's a great way of looking at it then.
One final question, and then we will go ahead and wrap it up. This comes from Zinchan. Anyone ever watched the Laser Tag? Anyone ever watched the Laser Tag Academy show?
No.
I've heard of it. I've never watched
remember seeing like a clip of it somewhere.
I feel like this advertisement was in comic books a lot. I remember.
Yes, there was always that Laser Tag where it's the big statue, and then there was some there were like panels at the bottom where it's like, "I'm gonna get you, sucker," or something like that. And
I always remember this one here, and I'll go ahead and put it on the screen.
Was the show Photon ever? Okay.
Oh, I never saw that one before.
Yeah, I remember seeing something more along the lines of this in comics.
Laser Tag Academy.
Yeah.
Yeah, if I had access to that as a kid back in the years, I definitely would have given it a shot, because
I think I would have too.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it was like, Captain Power kind of came off of that, didn't it? With the whole up. I never really got into that either. That was like, I remember Larry Dutilio telling me all about Captain Power. They had high hopes for that, because that was Dutilio and Straczynski.
Yeah.
Loads of different things.
And a great concept, like to look at the visuals for Captain Power, like, God, man, but it's been a while since I've tried to watch some of the show, and it wasn't bad. It wasn't like I didn't like the look and what it was trying to tell. I think I just kind of found some of it to be a bit not as engaging as I was hoping it would be.
Did Captain Power have that interactive VHS?
Yeah.
I remember that. I think I may have messed around with that as a kid.
It's funny. I remember the ads for Captain Power more than Captain Power itself. Like in the UK Masters of the Universe comic, for the longest time, there was a big Captain Power ad, like on one of the interior pages. You'd always go like, "Oh, He-Man story, Captain Power ad, He-Man story." They just shoved it in all the time because obviously Mattel were really hoping that this was going to be the next big thing, and it just,
Yeah.
I just didn't have access. I knew of it, and then I think I got Captain Power marked down at a KB Toys like in '89, I think, and that was the only thing I ever picked up. But I knew that there was a series. I knew that there were tapes, and I'd hear stories about you could interact with the show with your toys. I'm like, oh my god! But I never had an opportunity. I just didn't see him that much, unfortunately.
Just one of almost like one of those many '80s cartoons that kind of just went.
Yeah.
Dino Riders, as an example.
God, what a fucking shame that is too.
Yeah.
Dino Riders.
We've talked about this a lot. That Dino Riders is something that if you're going to bring back anything and reintroduce toys, do that. Like kids love dinosaurs. I think Dino Riders.
It's a really good shout.
Yeah. It would lend itself pretty well. But it goes to what Tyler was saying with Captain Power. One of those things that's getting lost in the toy aisles and even on TV because there's so much, but what a time it was to have all of those options.
Because you had to know at some point there were groups of kids that were like tuning in every day or however it was, how often it was aired with Captain Power or Galaxy High School, Bionic 6. Like I watched Bionic 6 as much as I could because it came on ass early in the morning along with like Thundercats and Silverhawks before going to daycare. So I really thought I was the only person on the planet who remembered that show. So I'm like, this is what I love about all this is people still like, I remember that show. I watched that show, and unfortunately, there were people who loved it, but just not enough.
Yeah.
Well, let's go ahead and we will go ahead and sign off. But I hope everyone enjoyed this extensive conversation about Galaxy High School. Once again, link is down in the description. If you want to check out this first episode that we went through and watch all the others, it's all on YouTube. Check it out. I hope everyone enjoyed all the conversation after the fact. If you haven't done so already, make sure you like this video. Comment down below and let us know your thoughts about this show. And until next time, we will see you in the future to talk about the past.
I gotta go to the bathroom, Daddy. No, damn it.
I know what it is. Let's see if James can get it.
I don't at all. Sorry, guys.
And the medic gets out and goes, "Oh my god!
Oh my god! What is that from? Oh my god! What is it?
Do you validate? No.
There is an actor, James, in this film that we talked about earlier.
Oh bloody hell! No, I'm losing. No, I haven't got it. Sorry. No.
Tommy Boy.
Of course. What do you do? Yeah, sorry. I've got a quote for you.
All right.
It's go on then.
Oh, that's a t-shirt.
You're supposed to say the whole thing. You want another?
Oh, you want another? Go on then. No.
Couldn't end it any better than that.